response, but we'll say thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.
For wonderful
Bye-bye.
desk people.
Goodbye.
Any last words?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
No, bye-bye. Okay,
Sorry, Borat just came onto the broadcast there.
they faded Anne out like they just like yoinked her.
Just the shepherd's crook just came in and just grabbed her off the stage.
Wait, I'm gonna recreate with my headset. That was a full bye-bye.
Oh dear. Well, we're in.
We're in.
We are in.
Thank you everyone for bearing with us and taking part in the impromptu EML podcast. Listen to it on all your favorite streaming services. We are in, and if you missed the sort of lead into this, Falcons versus MACKO starting here on Clubhouse, where these two teams butted heads but a few weeks ago, Demo.
I'll just remind everyone of the bans that they had last time. It was Falcons. They started off on the attack, just as they are now. And last time they banned Cade and Mira. This time they have banned Cade and Mira. For MACKO on their defense, last time they actually banned Dokkaebi and Grim, where they went for the double shields this time around.
So, will the double shields be something that MACKO have sort of realized they don't want to play against? I could scroll back and see if it was a big bit of a threat in the previous game, but I'll do that in just a minute. First, let's get in to the real meat of this, and that is to see who meets the meter that they need to try and measure up to. Because last play day, these two teams had the reason they are here, both of them, against different opponents, just sort of struggle, different sort of showdowns even. They could not find a rhythm that they were able to sort of put together quite masterfully throughout it. And, you know, it's that sort of shame because we have high expectations of MACKO based on how aggressively they met the competition here in the challenge. And then we always have high expectations of this Falcons roster. And you could see the frustration on both of them. MACKO looked a bit shy, a bit worried, a bit scared of going up against Virtus Pro, which left them in this position. And then Falcons, unfortunately, met a very challenging secret, but then just could not keep their heads in a positive place. Solotov, who was the MVP last time these two teams met, is immediately in and immediately gone. Oh, they had the drone on the player at the back of Cash there, but just missed the rotation into CCTV.
Yeah, that's horrific from Falcons. Only one rover from MACKO, by the way. Just Akwi upstairs by himself, everyone in the bomb site. He has an echo cam as his support, but that is it. It's one guy. They spotted him out. I mean, there's a lot of mute jammers up there. The fact that they've been able to get a drone in through CC into the Cash drone hole and see that guy, I don't know why Solotov isn't waiting for his teammate. It makes no sense at all. It looks like Falcons are just going to try and ignore him and just walk down the site. EFAC, where are you going?
Well, he's going to go and get a double kill Demo because that's what EFAC does. Hit by an Echo drone. They're going to see if, well, for a second, they were going to see if they could try and stick a plant. The Clash is doing something, but they don't have the control over Blue. They're waiting for the rotate round, and now it's going to become a post-plant situation. They have the cross angle from the bottom of the main stairs. They're concerned about a rotate coming from behind them, and, well, there's Lolo getting one. The Clash has been able to get their way across the divide. A bit of a scratch from behind. There's users putting the pressure in so they can't deploy the shield. They have to try and fight their way forward, so they drive all the way into the back of the Habana, hit and baited right in towards Lolo, now forced out in towards Dirt. Users has kept himself a bit separate. They need to try and secure the kill onto either of them because they can't just sit on the defuse. There's Users round the back getting one. Shaiko takes that as the moment to push on forward. Users gets another onto the Clash. There's at least a trade out, but at this point he's just got to hold the kit. Tries to bait it, can't. And Falcons, what a way to start us off.
Oh, messy round to kick things off. It's not the most picturesque post plant that I've ever seen. So a few things to digest. So obviously I was able to point out, you know, one roamer. That was it. One guy top floor, nobody else. 4 players still in sight. Falcons lose that first pick. Solotov just goes in, tries to do it himself. Not happening. In a 4v5, with 4 players still in the bomb site, somehow EFAC has walked down long without anyone challenging him. He kills the guy who's just sat in dirt. He then gets another guy towards Blue, and then all hell just breaks loose. The diffuser goes down. They have a Clash who's attempting the retake. It was messy as well. Like, I mean, EFAC should never be allowed to do this. Just walks down long. There's a shield looking at him as well. Just nobody in a position to stop that. Then the clash was just, I don't know, having a mare of the time, was trying to set the shield up, just couldn't. And, oh, I mean, how do you describe this round other than just chaos?
It was a well-sniffed-out opportunity, and MACKO misplaced their defenders. I mean, it's a frustrating way for it to start, especially with the mistake that was made by Solotov early on. As we said, it was good of MACKO to sort of push and clear, but really it was a bit gifted. A sledge comes through that wall, you know, they're not going to get their gun up before they get dropped down. Lolo did their best to try and fight your way back in, but you also look at, obviously, the clash is a big thing, right? Having that shield is huge, but then they have the echo drones as well. They have the chance to get live-fed information. You just sort of wonder what was so interesting about not long one of the core 3 ways in towards the side. I guess they were really worried about the dirt push, but the dirt push came through clean anyway. Either way, we're off to a bit of the start, and in that moment, I did have a quick look to see how often shields were used against them last time round. And half of the rounds, 3, there was 2 blitzes and a Blackbeard that showed up, but they only really had a 50% success rate, so it wasn't fantastic. 66 even. Sorry, Matt Nerd. Sorry, Jesse J. Chick. So 66% recurring success rate.
I love the fact that you've mentioned nerd and automatically you go to Jesse, who's just the resident nerd of the
Well, I know for a fact that
close.
if Jesse was listening and I said 2 of 3 were a win, 50%, Jesse's like, Emmy, you're an idiot. And Jesse's not wrong. But Solotov is 2 entry deaths.
Yeah. Not good. I mean, for Solotov, he's not had the greatest of stage, I think, whenever it comes to some games. I think there's some games where he's been very on it, but then others where I just feel he's went messy. Like, very inconsistent, I think, for Solotov this stage. And yeah, I think as an entry player, you need to find consistency in that game.
It's the hard sort of position for Solotov to be in because he's a very all-or-nothing player, right? On a roster that has a lot of talent, very high bar, all-or-nothing players, they stand out a lot more when mistakes happen, I think. Ooh, and Brede disconnecting is rough. The round is already deep in progress at this point. The 5 versus 3 with Shaiko obviously almost getting caught as well by Akwi. 40 seconds. We're still away, but the only tune that we're probably going to be having here is 1-1. The fight just underneath is an easy one for Lolo to pick up, and the approach here has been read. On towards CC as well. There's Akwi getting another hop out. And leaving just Usus alone.
Well, not much really happened there for Falcons. That was pretty one-sided as far as one-sided rounds can go. I'm very surprised by the approach that they've actually went for. Whenever you kind of look at that lineup for MACKO, they don't have much plant denial. And for me, if I'm seeing a lineup and there's really nothing to stop you moving in, just go default for rafters and then go for a plant. But it didn't look as though that Falcons really wanted to take the time and the effort to go through maybe, you know, burning through the ADSs, going through the Azami barriers that'll be up in towards rafters. But you think for a well-established team like Falcons, that should be pretty easy for them. I mean, they've still got operators like the Monty, for example, which they can bring in as well, which helps out a lot whenever you're going for that certain push. Just don't know if the decision there was the correct one for Falcons. Now, look, maybe that DC played a part. I'm sure it probably would have in some shape or form. But again, I still think, you know, losing that opening pick, Solotov dying, especially with he was on the sledge, wasn't he? So losing 2 nades for that take. I mean, it's giving away util for nothing. You know, you're getting nothing in return, just dying. Or no, he wasn't on the sledge. Was he in the Flores? I think he was in the Flores. Again, would have been a great operator to have for the Azamis. Oh,
fantastic operator to have. And, you know, as I was sort of making the comment before things started to slip away, it's hard being one of those kind of players because, as I said, last time these two teams met, he was the MVP of the whole game. +6 or +7 by the end of it. He was so solid. And he has those big moments. But then sometimes when the flick of the coin goes away from you, you know, it starts to eat up. And on other teams around the world, or teams that might not have the same caliber as the players from Falcons, you could still get away with a bit of it. But here,
I've got a hot take.
Oh yeah,
this is again hot take. It is what it is. But this is just what
hot
I
take
think.
alarm. Woo, woo.
Okay.
You're supposed to get mad.
We'll see if if Jack and Leo agree with this.
Yeah.
The year for Falcons, so the entire past year that they've had, I don't think that their team play has been good. For a team which has been in every grand final, for saying that their team play isn't that good, you might be thinking, well, how does that make sense? I think that team is very fortunate that they have some of the 5 best individuals in the world all in one team. And you've had individuals who can carry 3 rounds, which have looked disastrous for Falcons.
I would agree with you, but not as strongly. So if people want to go, no, it's you have.
Where do you move the glass on the table? Where are you putting it?
Yeah. I don't. Well, I'm still holding it for now. I'm still holding it. You have to. Unfortunately, it is when you are of such a pedigree, when you are so good for so long, with unbeaten runs, with whatever, and you don't have the silverware in the cupboard, you have to ask why, right? You just have to. It has to be part of the conversation, because even put by the players themselves, I think it was in the lead up towards Boston SI, EFAC was on an interview and he said the team would rather not come second again and just like drop out earlier on than get second and lose it all at the final stage again, because it hurts so much, because you can be perfect, so good, oh my god, it's over, and you don't have the reward to show for it. And that difference of distance can be a lot of things, but it's that point when you are so consistently in the finals, you have to look at everything under a microscope. And I don't think it's unfair to say that that is an element that other teams do better than them, the ones that they need to beat. So therefore, it is something that needs to be improved. I need a hot take. Oh, Ghost is channeling good energy.
Is he making sure that he's, just showing his hands? He's got nothing in the hands.
I believe so. But we will otherwise, keeping their hands up. I need a hot take.
Well, think of one. Not difficult. Just say something.
About just say anything.
Say something. Go on.
Can it be? Should I come up with a hot take about the talent around the world?
Okay.
I think. Oh. Okay. I think that EML talent would lose in a fist fight to the NAL talent. That's but I think we could beat the Australian talent. That's the hot take element.
So in terms of NAL talent, right?
You have Lax.
Right, you've got Lax and you've got Ollie. Right?
Yeah.
The rest of them aren't really a threat.
Ginny.
I mean, I'm not taking that fight. You can, but I'm not.
Janira would beat us all. She's hopped up on matcha tea. I think Anne couldn't. I don't see Anne as a fighter. Anne is a dancer, not a fighter. Lax, yes. Davide, no. Wouldn't want to risk getting hit in the face. That's the moneymaker.
Wouldn't want to lose a hair.
Whereas Dio's talent, Pengu is only good in the server. I think you could throw hands with Pengu anywhere. And
yeah, he's a bit of a skinny fella.
so actually, he's technically also EML, so he's like an inside man that we have.
Well, then so is Dev at that point then as well.
I think you could get a good few hits on Xenox before he realized what's happening.
But surely Dev's got a good reach on him. Because he's a big lanky guy, isn't he?
Dev fights, like, you know those videos of, like, old-timey boxers where they, like, stick their arms, they're like, put him up, put him up. That's how I imagine Dev Marder fights. I don't think Dez or Tim would be good in a fight.
I know, I think a headbutt from Tim could be a tough one.
Depends, because they know which they could approach him like you're a shark, and he wouldn't be able to see him. Anyway, that's my hot take.
I wouldn't say it's more of a hot take. It's just
a take.
Don't know what you're talking about.
I was just trying to think of something to fill airtime, but I know what's
something
better.
siege related. Come on.
I know what's better to fill airtime than that siege related demo. Do you know what it is?
Don't say a share skin video.
It's the G2's R6 share skin, baby. Let's watch.
Easy, easy, teammate.
Oh, Jesus. Nice. All right, listen. There's a few guys left. I'm going to entry. You're with me. I need you to stay on cams and support us if we need.
Got it.
All right, with me. Clear. 3, 2, 1. Cover me. Jack. One on the right. Oh, shit. No, call! Get off your cams. We need help. Fucking Alamo. Take the case. Go on without me.
Shut the fuck up, Jack. What?
Is he okay?
I've been worse.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back. What a wonderful, magnificent video. Class, I have some news that I don't really know how to break. Just put your pens and your papers down for just a second. We're going to be replaying round 2 demo.
Yeah. Again, isn't anything to do with us.
Nothing to do with us.
We just
we are
how it is.
My favorite phrase at a moment like this is please don't shoot the messenger, because we are that. I'm as surprised as the little plush toy in the back of Ghost's camera, because the disconnect happened after the first kill had happened, and we don't know the reasoning. I'm sure there are some reasoning that will get put forward somewhere at some point, so look for that. We can only tell you what we know, which is that round 2 is, as far as I'm aware, being replayed because of the disconnect.
Yeah. It looks as though that the crash that happened with Bride, apparently it wasn't on his end. Apparently the game just said you're out the game.
There is one thing I've never understood is I wouldn't say a crash is really on anyone's. No one chooses those, but whatever. Did you? Yeah.
It's like the time my power went out.
I don't know. We look at the rulebook for however long, and we've been with the rulebook for however long, and sometimes things change, and we are there after the change. And I'm just not the first time it's happened. Bride's just reading his Evian bottle.
In the bottle of water.
Ingredients.
Ingredients. Sitting there thinking, could I make this at home? He's sitting there thinking, could I make this? Could I?
Could I do that? What is it come from?
Could I drill a well? Could I?
So,
Hey, it's not cheap to make a well, by the way. You know, it costs a lot of money to make a well.
how much does it cost to make a well nowadays?
I don't know, but I know it costs a lot.
I bet Ollie knows.
Well, like 20,000 or something, isn't it? Because you have to go and get the machinery to like dig the hole and stuff, and then do all that kind of stuff.
Is that
actually a lot of money?
Is that Scarf a football team?
I don't know.
Ghost's hands. Don't you
There'll
dare, Reddit.
There'll be no phones in his hands
No
today.
posts about Ghost this time, Twitter.
To be fair play to the guy, he's not going to get caught out again. Hang on, where'd the hands go? Whoa!
I mean, we've literally had other cams of other Falcons players and other players of this team with that, like, guys, just don't worry about it. There's other more pressing things right now. Like, hopefully getting back in sooner rather than later. Finished his light reading. Demo, can I out you for the thing that you told me before the start of the show day today?
If you want to.
Okay. You are reading, and I quote, your first ever book.
Well, obviously you had to read it in school and stuff, right? I get that, but like me actually, off my own free will and accord,
Yeah.
reading a book, yeah.
Uh-huh. What book?
It's the one about there's a dragon in it.
How to Train Your Dragon.
No, not that
Aragon.
one. There's some dragons, and there's this big massive wall, and there's this guy who knows nothing, and he lives in the wall.
Oh, Game of Thrones, based
There
on
you
the
go.
popular TV show.
Yeah. No.
Great books. They're actually really, really nice reads. I hope you have a good time reading them.
Thank you.
Congratulations on picking up your first book.
Thank you.
Anyway, we will hopefully be back in momentarily. I assume we came back. I'm only, as I said before, yes, by the looks of it, we're in right now. So we're here now. 1-0. The last round didn't happen.
Yeah. And they've also changed sites because of that.
Attackers have located a bomb.
So
Yeah,
we've got
so-
a gym now.
Yeah, so there used to be obviously the rules around repicking the same sites and stuff like that and blah, blah, blah. When it is time is effectively rolled back, they are free to change sites, change holes, change whatever. Because otherwise there would just be an advantage, which we would not like to create.
Setting welcome mat. Loading new mag.
So one thing about MACKO in terms of what we've seen over the past, I'll still say 2 rounds because we did see round 2 part 1 play out. We did see that. They like to roam. It's not just a case of they're going to sit back and turtle into the bomb site and let Falcons have their way. They want to extend. They want to fight, and it was something that they just didn't do against VP. I thought they were just way too scared going into that game, and VP just took full advantage of that. So I'm happy to see them come in, and it's like it's more the mentality of what do they have to lose? It's you may as well go in there, play your siege. Don't be scared of the big team. Make a name for yourself. Go out there and play your siege. And I hope that is what MACKO are going to keep following through with today.
I mean, they had a dream where they won this round. Let's see if they could try and turn it into reality, I suppose, at this point. They have the ability to force these kills. We've seen mistakes that come through from Falcons as well. They've lost the entry 2 times in a row. The clash of Teb, going to be a bit active. I'm wondering if it's going to be Falcons' 3rd removal here when we get through to it, or if they'll go with potentially his army instead, lure them in towards the clash ban. There's the air jabs they're forced out to try and get some control of the space, but Solotov just misses being on the positive for the entry engagement instead. There seems to be some slight awareness of somebody at the window, but they're just holding on, letting the pressure start to hit the front. There's the rotate, but... Yeah, kind of with you there.
Why someone with a pistol makes no sense. A great little pocket arrow as well to cover up that door to allow Shaiko to keep playing on those windows. And Falcons, you can see that the aggression of all came in from the Jacuzzi side. They've opened up bathroom. They're player in the windows. They're using their util well. Look at the patience as well from Falcons. Slow it down. Wait until we can get users up, and then we go for the plant. You know, don't run a 1v5, but Falcons, they're just going to just draw this round out to a steady halt now and just going to wait until they can drone him out, find out where he is, and get an easy 1v5.
From this point onwards, you know, they've picked up the man down. As you said, it's a 1 versus 5. They have 40 seconds. Deimos goes down again, but then there's just the instant double swing round. That is 2-0 Falcons.
Well, that was a pretty clean round from Falcons. We knew what they wanted to go for. A lot of that was towards Jacuzzi. They were able to get that wall open and then move in towards bathroom. And really, once you lose that bathroom wall and you lose the Jacuzzi, it just opens up that bomb site massively. There's not many safe positions that you can actually sit. Like, for example, those guys instead of bathroom, they're going to have to leave from bathroom and sit in towards an area that they're going to get shot from the window, which was expertly patrolled by Chico. And then even if you think about the Capitao in that instance as well, the areas that you're maybe going to be safe in, for example, you know, gold rotate, you're going to be flamed out. So Falcons, the whole idea was to push them out into areas that they're going to be able to set Chico up for kills. And that's exactly what happened.
So, from this point onwards, MACKO, unfortunately, I mean, from the rounds we've seen, that was their weakest, even including how things have gone. Swinging with the pistol, a bit confusing. There was great coverage there from Falcons. The Capitao bolt, the smoke, covering the swing round as well, and the pressure elsewhere. It just seemed well put together from Falcons. The sort of break in the momentum has soothed their mental a little bit. Remembering how the first round went as well. They lost the opening and then just sent it based on a missed moment and a mistake there. So at this point, it's that sort of growth here from Falcons. We talked about how important the mental game is for both these teams. Not only do Falcons need to step up and not get themselves lost where they were before, but MACKO have to be confident to do things like this. Oh no. Oh no! He didn't know!
Oh, well, this time the roamer has been dealt with, but you have to put some question marks though for MACKO in terms of how does he not hear that player just fully sprint right beside him in rafters? I mean, that's what I'm more shocked about. Does he have his headset on? I wonder. But yeah, bad start for MACKO. They've lost all of their map control because, as we know, this is a setup where Akwi by himself with a few echo cams in support, but everyone else will be in the bomb site. And this is exactly where Falcons want them now. Full map control with minute 45 left. Soltov also pushing down blue and somehow finds a pick. Is there no F now? Is there no nothing to stop down an oil pit player? What?
I mean, at this point, you're now just looking at MACKO sort of having holes in the defense. You wonder if they're really clued in, or you wonder if we're about to see the MACKO we saw in the Virtus Pro game. It's a bit of a shame. Maybe it's the weight of getting to these situations. You don't have the benefit of the same sort of chance to place first. At this point, you lose this. The best you can get is 5th or 6th place. As that pressure leads in. Oh, Lolo does get a great one, and he was almost a saving grace the first round down here. Pulled off the triple kill, got himself into the 1 versus 1 at the end, but it was just a little bit too little too late. 50 seconds. And more pressure starts to try to roll down on towards blue and just pull themselves out of there, back into the site itself here, Demo.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be the clash is going to be the main issue, and they have still got impact EMPs as well from users, so maybe he could toss them at the shield and disable the shield, which would help them out massively, but that's a really important thing to open up is going to be that church wall. It forces the echo in behind the bomb chassis now, so potentially somebody pushing down blue could be able to pick them off, but yeah, I think it depends on how Ted plays this. You know, this clash could be a massive game changer, and it looks as though Kitchen's going to be the option for them, not Church. And oh, what a pick from Bredado. Drops down. Here comes the clash, but you need to try and help him. Where is Lolo? You need to help your clash.
Well, at this point, the clash is just surrounded, and they're trying to, delay the time. I think at this, there's... Oh. No. They weren't trying to delay the time. I thought maybe there was an echo play there. No. I was wrong.
Just kind of sprinted at him. Didn't have an echo cam, which I thought maybe that was going to be a saving grace there for MACKO just as the time started ticking away, but he mustn't have had any.
3-0. Will we get a MACKO timeout sooner rather than later? Obviously, Club isn't their map, both in pick and also in recent history against Falcons. But you want to keep it aggressive, right? You want to keep it a fight. As they said, you know, it's not exactly a bad map.
Hear him? How does he not hear him? How? He even goes like...
Reloading!
Back me, mate. What's the headset? Don't let me know, because I'm not going to get it. I'll tell you that now. I'm going to get that headset, whatever he has. Great little play there from Brid, though. They almost baited them because you've opened up that triple wall, and Users is obviously making a lot of noise over towards Moto. So the Falcons player almost baited MACKO thinking, oh, they're going to go church take, but they're not. Then Brid drops down, picks the guy off in blue. Yeah, a nice little bait and switch, though, in the end there for Falcons, you have to say.
3-0. Falcons charge ahead at this point, and
10 seconds to go.
well,
Bomb
it's
located by
now with the
attackers.
addition of the bands, the Deimos is gone alongside
5
the
seconds left before
Bandit. So
insertion.
the prediction on a Clasher and his army. To be fair, I put those out before we saw the last
Attackers
two
are heading out
rounds,
to defuse
and the
a
last
bomb.
2 rounds the Clash has only been loose. I think it's a great operator.
Swapping mags.
Yeah, you can do some great solo plays with it.
Did you see Pengu's not take another one? Did you see his what he put up last night? I just think, what's he on? I don't know what he's on.
What's he said?
Oh, he said he thinks Clash, the overall change to Clash is a nerf. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, Nick, no, don't say that. Thinks old Clash is better in many senses.
Well, Matt Ghost is now left the game. I am curious what will happen from this point onwards. But
Should have a rehost, no?
we'll just keep going until we're no longer going. I mean, now it's for 4 versus 4. But stranger things have happened, Demo, in the last 30 minutes. So,
Yep.
3-0.
We'll keep playing. Yep.
Yeah,
We'll see how this goes.
at this point, they're surrounding themselves in towards the situation on the back of the site. But, you know, you think about the Ash gone, it's going to make getting under the wall a bit tougher, unless you just do this demo.
Dear. Oh, rookie mistake from Dora. Sitting on cams, top red, exposing yourself to somebody maybe on the red stairs, and down he goes, and, well, Falcons, they regain that lead, and what a pick as well. The only form of plant denial is off the table. You look at the remaining 3 operators, they've got nothing left. So, yeah, this should be pretty bone dry, I think, for Falcons, just to be able to move in and get this plant down, because they have nothing to worry about, and they're actually going to just push in for a breach, not even try and take Garage. A trade, though, will come in. Bride able to get one before Lolo, of course, gets that kill back in favor, and MACKO trying to see if they can hold back EFAC, who is in the middle, and now comes down to a 1v1. EFAC up against Teb, but who either know where one another is. We've got a red ping, so yes, they do. Teb knows exactly where to aim for EFAC, who at the moment is scrambling to find any remnants of where he could be, but Teb is playing this patient, waiting for the yellow pings. Diffuser has to try and go and get to EFAC, beats him in for the swing.
Okay, now I'm not sure what's gonna happen, so we'll just keep chugging along. As he said, it was a
I'm 5.
4. Okay, so 4-0. So that last round did stand.
Just the messengers, don't forget. They didn't, you know.
Just the messengers.
That's it.
Folks.
It's like that hit show that you just talked about, you know. Don't eat the help. We're the help. Eat the help.
Yeah, like, guys, come on. We didn't.
10
We
seconds
just
left before insertion.
We just talk.
Sometimes we forget to talk.
What?
Sometimes we forget to talk.
I am really worried for you and I, Demo, that we're already at this state, and this is map 1 of series 1. And we're doing the first 2. Obviously, wonderful Tim and kind of good Dez are taking over for the third showdown.
Oh, Cybertruck.
Yeah, he uses gone. Dokkaebi gone. First removal.
Yeah, good pick as well. Obviously, Dokkaebi, with the influence she can have on rounds, of course, with that call, is always fantastic to have. And somehow, Aqua's actually been able to get away from Blue. I thought that Shaiko would have been sat waiting for a roamer to come back down the stairs, but has missed his opportunity. But still, that will give Falcons control of this side of the map in towards Stock and in towards Garage, but you've still got these roamers. You've still got roamers in towards Kit. You've got players in and around, I think, the main stairs as well. I think Teb's also left one of his shields and one of his drones. I think maybe towards Strip side. So there is still potential for a late flank. But again, we'll find out and we'll see how this round plays out. But still, this player inside a kitchen, if he does get droned, he'll be a dead man, but that is a big if.
Sephora, pressure starts to come out across the top itself, obviously using those to get some range. They don't instead. I mean, it's a danger place, but they're dead inside Blue, Demo. Ghost gets caught out by Solotov, who pushes their way up from oil, pulls themselves back, and gives themselves time. The Azami has to, like, time this perfectly. If they can catch Brede before they drop the hatch with the kit, they'll buy their team an extra 20-30 seconds and... Oh, missed the moment. Had the right idea, but pulling their way just past main. Gonna play underneath the hatch themselves. Keep it aggressive, but otherwise things aren't coming together. Solotov now pushing up with Shaiko in towards Blue. They've got pressure on the opposite end of bottom main, but EFAC gets chewed up on the approach. Aqui and Lolo find one apiece. Solotov's massively hurt, and there's Aqui from Dirt getting one more, leaving just Solotov alone.
Ooh, nice little shot. Still, you need 3 of them and no HP to do so. MACKO on the board. And Dora is very happy with that one. Boy, I didn't do anything, Dora. What the... Don't look at me like that. I didn't do anything. The emotion's great. Obviously, for Falcons that time around, they didn't have, I think, what they wanted, per se. And it did feel as though that the Blue players maybe jumped the gun before they should have. They didn't even clear out Dirt at that stage, and they're trying to force a Blue take. That's not going to happen. The guy in Dirt can hold the players as they come in through Blue. So that was a little bit strange from Falcons. The 2 guys dropping the hatch. I mean, I will say, Brede probably should have died to that run out. He just didn't commit to it. It was an absolute freebie kill, but is what it is. It just, yeah, I don't know how they can expect to go for a kitchen Blue take, but then have Dirt players still alive. It just feels as though Falcons, they tried to rush that round massively. Was it a case of the Blue players thought, oh, we're in Blue, we can work with this? It felt as though MACKO were happy enough to give them Blue.
You can see how much it means to them.
5 seconds remaining.
And honestly, you don't blame them for how it feels right now, for how this game has sort of been paced, and they've made mistakes. They shouldn't in any way be winning, but the frustration of a couple of things that have happened in this game, I'm not going to get into, but you got to look at it from their perspective as players that have to sit out and play the rest of this. Anyone who's ever played competitive sports, anyone who's ever played competitive anything, participated, you are heated in that moment, you are fueled up, and you'll cool down later and you can look at stuff and get other perspectives, fine, but at that time, when you feel like the world is in its ways against you, the slightest step up is everything.
Yeah.
Will there be some heat that comes behind it? Not from Lolo.
Falcons have been pretty ratty, especially EFAC. I feel as though that they've really just been able to walk in and find kills that MACKO are just giving away for free. I feel as though the opening kill department for Falcons has just been snatch a kill, a hit and run almost tactic. And I'm surprised that MACKO hasn't played more into traps, for example. You know, Falcons, have, especially got players like EFAC, you know that the way they want to play. Traps are great against those types of operators, and yes, they have the Fen rear. You can only activate 2 gadgets, and is one of them going to be towards construction? Probably not. So, for example, an L or a Legion may come in a little bit more handy, or just to give you that added little bit of a heads up, and it would avoid losing players so early on, like just happened to Lolo.
Solotov gets onto Akwi, pulls themselves back. It's the 5 versus 3 at this point, and the pressure just keeps on coming. They almost crossed their own fights there, but Dora does get a smoke canister out. Shaiko steps in behind the Kiva, helped partially by it, pops the fire on towards the Clash, pushes them slightly further away. They're able to root around the back of the site itself, but they still have a minute. Now they don't have Shaiko. Teb gets one out, and EFAC going for the long route round. It's... Oh, Teb! Driven in gets another. They'll have the reveal of somebody coming in underneath. The Fenrir just popped out on EFAC's rotate, so that puts the pressure back onto them now. You can see that they've popped the fire. Dora gets used as the backline is held because nobody is watching from the CC Balk. 30 seconds. And Falcons started strong, sort of faded into the Aether here, up against the Clash that's just going to replace them, because you can see that they've realized nobody's coming from behind them. They rotate round to the opposite side, peppering the fire to nobody who is currently still home. They're worried about this entrance, and fair enough, but I think they fully stacked it and fully dropped it. Somehow, MACKO, Dora Ghost, and obviously the terror that is Teb, locked in, held the line, and got themselves a second round.
Really good 3v5. I think the smoke played a massive part with the smoke grenades that he tossed out to keep them at bay so they could reposition. You see the Clash, the power of that operator can just sit in front of that open breach and stop anyone from Falcons, obviously just sitting outside of the CC breach and causing issues. You know, I think that they play to the strengths of their operators there for MACKO. Falcons, a little bit individual, it has to be said again, where people are rushing instead of waiting for the util dump to come in. You know, those Grimbees came in whenever it was a 3v3. Why did nobody wait? And then the Grimbees come in at a 5v3. Yeah, same issues that we've kind of seen, I think, this stage with Falcons. It has been a case of people just getting ahead of themselves. But again, credit MACKO. I think they played the operators they had at their disposal really well. Again, great heads-up gunfights, has to be said. They won them well. And yeah, MACKO. They've pulled 2 back, and it's the exact same split as what we had in the regular stage.
Activating chat.
Full chat, to no surprise, popping off a bit. Okay, entirely without context, Teb screaming, "I speak Italian." Great.
10 seconds to insertion.
4-2. MACKO. Now they were able to match their previous performance here. They pulled 2 defenses when they were up against Falcons last time. 1 on Church, 1 on Jim. This time round, it was Church and CC. But then they only got 1 attack when they got round to it on CC. So the opening potential 2 rounds here of Church and Jim, if they both go the way of Falcons, we might be finding ourselves hurtling into a repeat of the best of 1.
Yeah, well, again, speaking of that best of 1 in terms of the bans, Falcons, last time they had went for the double hard breach, and again, exactly the same once more. And for MACKO, they went for the Bandit and a Cade. Last time they went for a Cade and an Azami, so it has gave Shaiko, of course, that strong operator that we know we play so well on. Oh dear, Dora, you fell for such an easy... I mean, I wouldn't say it's the oldest trick because it's still very new, but certainly a new trick that you should know at this level. That new canister pipe, I've seen a lot of pro players die to that. You should always be shooting that if you were roaming upstairs. You should have popped that immediately as the blitz, because again, the fire will last for 5 seconds. It really doesn't slow your approach, but for that very reason, it's basically like a pocket C4 that EFAC had sitting on the door.
Well, Lolo gets the take onto EFAC. They had the watch, they had the pressure. It's a perfect hammer and anvil. You are the anvil waiting for them to just sort of be pushed against you and can slam down at the right second. So, half the time gone now, and they can start putting their pressure on towards the actual pressure of the site itself. No Kaid, and we'll put some limitation here on towards the breach, but with the castles being opened, with maybe some of the vertical being put together, they don't have the blitz, which could have been nice to obviously get the clear, and it was a big mistake of how they were dropped, but at this point, they still have everything to try and formulate the cover, but those Capital bolts, Acqui, though he trades off the kit, is going to be a very important part of this on my test. It's narrow angles, the castle cover there on towards the drop of Moto as well. It seems like they want to rotate their way around, put pressure onto blue instead. I think they've realized just how much attention is being paid here, and they are about to enter a bit of a death box once they get rid of that first. Covering, baiting, pre-firing.
Don't forget there's mirror windows that are looking down on towards the bottom of the main stairs and also in towards blue. So removing these mirror windows is going to be tricky, especially whenever they are comboed with the mute jammer, so the Habana pelts will have no effect. So they just have to try and just force their way in via kills, but it's going to be tricky.
Well, a C4 double is going to make it trickier, but Lolo does find use as the trade out sort of fell in. However, look where the kit is, look where the players are. It's a quick rotate round from the Capital to pick it up. They have a pinch here onto the site, but 15 seconds to try and drive themselves on, and an easy pickup all the way. Now just have to cover the rotate round and cover the plant itself. You can see they have the reveal. They're going wider and wider. Just close on the swing. There's the post plant. There's the cover, all down to Pre-Day. Rotating round, just misses it. Too late and covered by MACKO. It's 2 versus 4, was that?
Yeah, more or less. MACKO somehow, I mean, you have to give credit to those 2 players being able to really good communication. It had to have been, you know, whoever the Capital was, won them that easily. Picked up the diffuser from his dead teammates, had to win that engagement against Shaiko, who was holding some bougie angle. I don't know what Shaiko's holding, right? And then immediately, as soon as he picks up the diffuser, he knows, I have to go for the plant. And then he just has to fully trust that his teammate is going to cover him. And they've done that so well. That kill box that you mentioned happened, that double C4. A lot of the times, as soon as that kind of moment happens, you know, round's over, job's done. But somehow they find a way. And again, it comes down to Falcons. Like, I've watched Shaiko Holden, you know, Acqui, man of the hour really for his team. And like I said, the cover as well from Lolo was great. Both of those players working really well together. A massive round, and the morale is going to be with MACKO now. That's 3 in a row for them.
5 seconds left.
3 in a row for MACKO. And as I said it before, sometimes when you're sort of put into that really tricky spot where you're pressured, you can turn into diamonds. And here, MACKO have absolutely done that. Everything feels like it's going against them to some degree, and that fuels on players. As I said, when you're in that mindset, when you're in that sort of position, you can see how much every win means to them, regardless of how things are sort of done. And as I said, there'll be sort of clarity that comes from the calls earlier on, and just the nature of the pace of this game has been odd. And that puts you in a situation where you really have to try and find something special. And unfortunately, Maverick tricking that wall isn't something special, because it doesn't work. Because they mess it up.
A little bit messy. Again, it's not really the jacuzzi wall is going to be the main issue. Again, it's going to be getting in towards bathroom. And with their lack of ranged hard destruction, I really don't know how they get rid of the player instead of bathroom. You know, Bride, honestly, if you wanted, you could just go for a reinforcement as well. They still have 1. So yeah, not the greatest of lineup choices, I think, from MACKO, but obviously they're going to be trying to do something pretty clever here, because you bring in an operator like the Aurora, who we know is great in these little pocket rushes if you want to try and get, you know, prioritize getting the plant down. So I'm curious to see what they're going to go for, and the fact that they're putting a lot of pressure downstairs with players clearing out in towards strip club, moving in towards bar, it leans into the fact that they may be going for like a main stairs push, for example, which is exactly what they're going to go for.
Well, the Rara cover gets them a bit of a route up, and they're hit by a Banshee. They're putting the door on the next swing round and driving into Logi and just trying to hope for this kill, but there's a trade out. There's the first. Now there's a second not too far away. They're not sure what side to swing. Drops the kit, uses, but instantly traded out. They didn't know Lolo was close on the wall, but there's always another BDS player seemingly right now ready to rumble and swing on. Another Banshee. Another reveal that they're trying to approach themselves in. They made the best out of a bad situation of the breach being a little bit scuppered.
Throwing
Just the pre-fire angles with 40 seconds. Oh, and Ghost getting the split in the cover. It's traded out. They drive behind it, Lolo! levels things up here, and suddenly, from the long, twisting, winding road that got us here, we're all tied up.
Oh, clip it and ship it for Lolo. What a finish. Yeah, rush. A unique rush that I've never seen coming in from MACKO. So the idea of their take, it's to create as much confusion as they can amongst the Falcons players and then try and take the map control in towards Logi, which is obviously a very difficult place to take control of on Clubhouse, just because, yes, you have the hatchet drops into it, but there's always somebody close, usually holding with a shotgun, for example, and then also there might be a guy lingering in construction to kill you as you drop said hatch. Now, typically pushing up main stairs is a bit of a death trap, because there typically are 3 different ways you can get killed. You can get killed from somebody just holding the staircase from the door into bedroom. You can get swung from Logi, and if there's nobody on the breach, you could have also somebody just lingering on the flag corridor waiting for you to push up. So you could be walking into a 3-man crossfire. So that's why main stairs, it's very risky to go for. Now, with the addition of the roar, the way that they played that was they take downstairs in towards the mid floor. They will roar off their double door, because that will play as a bit of flank protection. And then they also hit that single door. So that takes away one of the options. Now, if you also know that you've got somebody on the main breach, you then exterminate another angle that you can get killed from, leaving only one, which is going to be Logi. As those 2 players are pushing up main stairs, knowing that the only way that they have to look is going to be Logi, they have a Grim, full sending in util, sending in flashbangs, whatever it is, to also disrupt the player inside of the gold rotate. Easy pick, you kill him. Once you gain that Logi control, all hell breaks loose for Falcons, because they are so worried about all of the different angles that they have to go up against. Because not only do they have to look towards the players towards Logi, don't forget, there's also people lingering on windows that you also have to be careful of. So you are putting Falcons in such an uncomfortable position where they have to watch a million different angles, and then they just cracked under the pressure, and we've seen the kills fall one after another. Great play from MACKO, the chaos that they created, and Falcons just couldn't cope with it.
4-4, and that was attack timeout called here by the side of Falcons, and where can they go but up, really? It's been a bit of a tragic last 4, and they almost need to try and find the same fire. Yes, you know, they were in the driver's seat, but there were still long delays for them at the start of this game. They had good moments. Go back to the very first round, and you had a Falcons that were on the back foot and then suddenly swung their way down long, got the kills, got themselves the round. There was the time where they pushed up red. They kept on finding these opportunities and avenues. They had a good information game. They just need to try and find a way to rebuild into it and go against the impassioned Italians. Well, there's not the perfect start. EFAC caught out there. Lolo on one side, Dora on the other. Oh, and the second, Solotov, he knew he had to fight his way out. It wasn't the wrong choice, but unfortunately, it was a price to be paid, Demo.
Yeah, many circumstances, round should be done. It should be. You've lost 2 roamers immediately with no trades back. You wasted no util from the side of MACKO. Yeah, should just be bone dry. But as we know, we've got Ride and we've got a Usus. Now, those 2 players, whenever it comes to these basement defenses, there's just something in the air with them. So don't count them out just yet, but they will be up against it. You've also got a near full health blitz as well to deal with.
Well, they're just getting rid of the pipes and the pepper. They've got loads of time to work out, set the full health blitz, and that's going to be the attempt to get the early drop on. But Akwi is gifted Usus. Now, he's obviously quite hurt. The trade comes out from Shaiko, but Shaiko gets dropped and Bride gets ghost. Dora pushing their way in. They're just going to go for the plant at this point. Bride, the man of a million clutches. Can he get 1,000,001? Has all the pings. He's going to go around the opposite side. The C4 is good, but it's a post plant with a blitz and some cover coming round on the side of Moto. He has to somehow isolate. 2 1 versus 1s does a lot of damage to Dora, drifting aimlessly. But at this point, oh, he almost had the snap to Teb, but Teb setting decibel records for screaming in his room right now. And there might be some complaints for the neighbors, but I think he'll be happy to take those. If it gets him more rounds. MACKO, 5 in a row.
Wow, wow, wow. Great reposition as well from Teb in that 1v2. Realizing that, yeah, he's going to commit the short now. I'm just going to reposition to a random corner that he's never going to expect me to be in. He would probably think that I'm beside my blitz or maybe inside Moto. He's never going to expect me beside the jukebox. So just a little thing like to point out there. Good decision making there from Teb. Yeah, MACKO, electric right now. The opening game again was strong. It set them up beautifully. I mean, this drop out of nowhere from MACKO finds another. And Brede made an attempt, but again, just that blitz with that shield. It's that survivability you get with that operator. You know, anyone else probably would have died there. You know, as you come across, it's just the fact that he has a shield in front of his face, so it allows him just to remain alive. And yeah, puts Brede in such a bad position, knowing that you're up against that shield. Yeah, MACKO, very, very impressed. I mean, Lolo, Teb, and Akwi. I said that last week, none of them stepped up. Yeah, VP just whitewashed them. This time, we've got players who are stepping up to the mantle. They're not shying away from the engagements. It's a completely different mindset than where they were. And I'm really happy to see it.
Now, this is Falcons map pick as well. And this is a point of the desk that it's not that MACKO have a weak cafe, but it's that Falcons have a very good cafe when they can sort of get there on a decent drive. And
whenever they decide where they want to go, if it's white or long bar, that is, of course.
Yep. But if they don't get there, Falcons could find themselves falling out of contention for first place, 750 SI points or whatever redonkulous number it is at the top.
Yeah. And I think that the main thing as well with the SI points is stage 2. And if you play bad in stage 2, you're done. You know, I think that's the main thing. You're only getting the 2 stages to gather the points up.
Going for the Maverick drive this time. Might try and get it to be a little bit more cautious on the approach. Look at the lineup here bought from the side of Falcons. The Clash, the Keebers, the Mirror. They are playing keep away as best as possible. And they're just trying to slow MACKO down here, right? They don't want them to be snappy. They want to try and delay sort of executes and engagements. And yeah, it's been 5 in a row. It's been a long time since we've seen Falcons find success, but they get one and suddenly that momentum is cut and the game is tied up again. It is back to being anybody's game. And their option here is to not be Falcons, not get the direct drive through, not get the direct fights on towards them. We've got Demo a minute.
Did he miss the wall up? Did he miss a Habana trick up? Did he do an Adrian? Oh, he did? What's Adrian doing over there?
The Habana trick is harder than you think. Oh, as is just running in. Yeah, I mean, this is well played by Falcons. They've just slowed everything down. They've made everything super uncomfortable for the approach. The closest fight here is a turtle position of Usus, who's more than happy to play this solo, but Brede's on his way. There's the Clash to offer some support. They get the 2-person close down. Clash is a little bit late, but there's 40 seconds, Demo. They've only just got in towards CC.
Oh, almost there for Shaiko, and gets punished because of that, leaves his position. Lolo able to get the kill, but still the trader back and forth with 25 seconds remaining, and still a Clash you have to go through. This is going to be tight for MACKO.
I mean, they're going to force their way onto the Clash here. 15 seconds. It's a fight over the top, but EFAC has the swing round. They've pushed all the way up against the mirror window. Solotov gets the lockout there, and a couple of points I'll raise in a second, as Akwioli has a couple of HP left at this point, and the Clash shows we know exactly where you are. Falcons slow the pace of the game down and bring us back level, but Demo, old buddy, old pal, I have a question, or more of a proposition. If you've banned Kaid and you've banned Bandit, so you know they're only going to be playing the Mute, and you have a Maverick and a Habana, how come you're still struggling to get the walls open?
Well, I mean, I will preference this and say he just messed up the Habana trick. 9 times out of 10 with any pro player,
wall,
you know.
But why was Jacuzzi not opened?
I think it's more the fact of they want to bring more of a heavy focus utility lineup for that top floor. You know, the Grim obviously makes a big appearance in that lineup. obviously with the double hard breach of being the thermite and the ace, you're then kind of really restricted in terms of what hard breach gadgets you can bring into the lineup. And I mean, not everyone has hard breach gadgets, and certainly some operators, it's operators that you don't really see being played all too often. You know, is it a case of, are they going to then force a multi into the lineup just to get a hard breach gadget? You know, is that going to be their option? I think that's what it comes down to. It's just that the double hard breach ban is causing some issues for them.
Attackers are moving out.
And again, it's just lineup preference, you know. And I think maybe is this exploiting the operator diversity, maybe perhaps in the side of MACKO. I don't know.
Jammer ready.
Changing mags.
Swapping mags.
So 5 apiece, and as I said, Falcons just needed the 1 to break the momentum and tie everything up. Now they just need 1 to get themselves onto OT. MACKO themselves, they've had a brilliant show so far. Lolo especially, but to be fair, it's been the whole team. There's been really, really well orchestrated pushes and sort of pincers, especially on these roam players. Oh, they have an awareness on a scope or shell.
Loading new magazine.
But that'll just limit some of it. And again, it's exactly what I talked about on the top floor. Look at how Falcons have now started playing this site. No extent, like no long play up top. MACKO, take your time.
Yeah. Obviously, you can see the lineup. They brought in a lot more hard breach. You know, last time they only had just the Habana and the Maverick, and Maverick, not the greatest operator in terms of trying to open up walls because it is very dangerous, as we know. They've completely removed like the impact DMPs that they had on Ghost, for example, which I think they're very fortunate that there isn't a clash this time, because really they don't have any hard counters to the clash, and the clash would have been a nightmare for Door to go up against as well. So I think the stars are aligning very well now for MACKO, just based on the lineup that Falcons have. But and Falcons are still going to try and deny some of that hatch play with the tub. Again, tub cannot destroy the gadget outright, but will be there to at least waste about 30 seconds or so off that hard breach gadget's time. Whenever, again, you would assume that that will be open momentarily, because you need to apply some bit of pressure towards that vertical over towards Armory. So I hope that's where MACKO look towards next. But right now it's going to be the triple wall take. That is what they want to go for again. Look where the shield is with that diffuser. He's going to want to drop in towards Moat and try and force his way in through triple wall, I expect.
Knocking the shield up right against the door, and the Kiba slowing them right back. There is people coming in from behind Shaiko at this point, but they have support all the way down in oil. Somebody is watching and waiting for Lolo. It's a very close fight that EFAC wins out and Bride gets tacked. We have 5 versus 3. They pull themselves in. Ghost does get Shaiko, and Ghost gets Bride. Cut their way across. So EFAC is a little separated, but Solotov watches, and Teb trades it out. 2 versus 2. One of them is a shield inside the site, though, and the separation between the 2 players is pretty tragic. If they don't know, well, they don't. Teb swings round, gets one, but the Monty, he's got aggro. He's got the kit. What is he doing? What's he playing at? The C4 doesn't decide it. They just have to watch, just have to wait, just have to stop him either side. Solotov slips his way through. Solotov!
Oh my days. Commando Pro lunge out of nowhere from Solotov. Oh my word. You thought Teb had that on lock in a perfect position, just had to hold for it. And he just think, I'm just gonna run and see what happens. Oh, MACKO. Oh, honestly. That is game defining that round. Game defining play.
A 5 versus 3 to a 1 versus 2 to a clutch.
How close was that diffuser, by the way?
It's gotta be close. I mean, credit to Solotov, as I said, they're an all or nothing player, and when they're all, they are all. They'll throw themselves into it.
I mean, Teb did so well to get that pick. Teb. That is a stinger, though, for Teb, isn't it? Because he did so well to get that pick to make it that 1v2. And really, that was the easy job, was just to hold the guy on dirt. That's all he had to do.
I'm changing mags.
6-5.
What a game.
I mean, from where we started to where we are, great. If it's the start of a back and forth 3-map series, even better. Who will get there in the end? I don't know. Because the question I posed at the start of this is, what 2 versions of these 2 teams will we get? We have definitely gotten the MACKO over the past 5 rounds that played throughout the season. They're playing great quick siege, very fearless, very fun application of certain like pocket plays and runs and things.
Really big fucking
and we are getting aspects of Falcons that would have been them on their strongest moments, these clutch things. I don't think we're still there yet.
I think Falcons are on brand the way they played this stage. I think both teams are just mirroring how they've done this stage. You know, at times Falcons has been a difficult watch, and this game has been a difficult watch if you're a Falcons fan. This is going to be the task now for Falcons, because they're going up against a whole lot of snipers. We've got a Cali and a Glaz coming into play. So naturally, you would assume that MACKO, they're going to be looking at taking in towards Catwalk, because again, Cali is great at clearing away. As you can see, the Keeper barriers makes very quick work of them. You've also got the Capital, which will in combo work with the Sophia birds to get rid of any ADSs or Wamidis that may be in towards top rafters. Essentially cook Shaiko alive, and Shaiko is playing up there raw. There is nothing to save him. All he has is his Keeper barriers. That's it.
There's also the chance, obviously, of Kali against a clash. A solid sort of rebuff against that shield. And, well, there's the play of the smoke, the cover. Shaiko's being cooked. Shaiko's driven out by his own Keeper. He gets himself to a pocket of safety. Now he has another wall behind him. Glaz can't quite get the free fish he's after in the barrel. Shaiko will just keep their head and often the ponytail that has seen many a army killed. Oh! But not like that. Akwi gets Shaiko from the window, just saw enough. Now, downed underneath as well. EFAC is potentially out of contention if they can swing in confidently. There was the removal of Dora. At the same sort of moment, they've lost the Hibana. They've lost a big aspect of their breach, but it seemed like the breach portion they'd done was well put together. Sprayed through the soft. Ghost confirms EFAC. 45 seconds. 3 versus 4. But, as we fully well know, between these 2 teams, it is not over until it is fully over. So, at this point, Usus holding on, waiting to go for the swing as somebody approached up the stairs themselves. Bride for exactly the same drive on the breach. Solotov underneath, making sure that Red is secured. The C4 impacts the first. Usus pulls himself around and gets the second. Great first 2 picks, but there's a trade out in a 2 versus 2. The Clash trying to push their way up. They're going for the plant in the cover of the silence, and there's a great read. And only a Clash left. Smash the shield, put the pressure on the player, and force them further and further out. Now, so they go for the pickup. They think it's too risky. We are going to overtime.
Oh, MACKO, well deserved that round. Able to, again, deal with the player in towards Catwalk, just by forcing them back into an angle where the player in the window. Now, there is one player who I have to put question marks above, and that is EFAC. EFAC trying to take in towards Garage from the steps and getting killed. Such a waste, especially with the operator that he's playing as. He had no need to do that. Shaiko, really, he done his job. He was there, he wasted a lot of util, wasted time. There was only a minute left at the time he was gone. And you sat there and think, okay, a 4v4 still with the smoke. And oh no, the smoke's dead. I think EFAC definitely cost this team because you need that operator alive and well. Look, he died with like all 3 smoke grenades. Well, maybe 1. Yeah, he used 1 and that was it. But still 2. Could you imagine if there were 2 smoke grenades at this point in the game? That's just the one thing I see, which it's hurting Falcons, is people going off and again trying their hand at risky stuff that they just shouldn't. I know it's his playstyle. I know that he just lurks in the shadows. But whenever he's on that operator, he should know better.
I think there's an element of it where I don't know if it's you know when you see something, I can't remember what the name of the effect is, you see something and then you see it a lot more. It's not the Streisand effect, but it's whatever when something gets mentioned. Smoke's dying early. This season has just felt so commonplace, taking really aggressive positions, and there's been like 1 or 2 roaming Smoke players across. I remember, I think this Citizen used to roam Smoke at one point, and otherwise, I don't know, it's just they keep getting themselves in these positions, and we'll always look and be like, why are they not last alive? They can just play this, they can do whatever the trade out is. Just quite piece itself together. Hit the mute jammers either side. The breach will get opened. I know I sort of had questions of muted breaches before, but Falcons still rolling on their defense. We talked about how last time they were here, Demo, they were slowing MACKO down super well. And I had questions about the hard walls and the breaches in the approach. Now, mute jammers work as an arc. EFAC works not very well this round. Gets shot in the face.
Yeah, again, you mentioned about hard breach. Again, none of it, just the Habana, and the Habana is just being used to make these walls essentially soft by using 8 pellets on each. And again, you can see that they've already used 16 of them. They've opened up, again, that wall over towards CC that we've seen, and then also the single wall of construction. So for the most part, that jacuzzi wall is going to be left reinforced. So that will give Falcons a pretty good avenue in terms of rotates, because again, we know if jacuzzi is going to be opened up, it just applies the extra bit of pressure. They themselves also has popped open the mirror window, so it does give somebody a gap, but it's really not going to play that big of a part in it. Still for MACKO, just going for the motions, finding on their pick, but Shaiko gets one in return. He's really in the hot seat at the moment as Azami. All those windows needs to try and block off and try and slow down the Italian approach.
Well, a minute 10, and obviously they've lost one, and there's the second. Shaiko just swinging either side, and you know, he's been a bit quiet this game. He was 1-8 at the start of this round, and suddenly he's 3. This is going to be the moment he pops himself in. You can see Dora going for the rotate and the pressure round on the main stairs behind them, but they have entirely surrounded them on different fronts. It's a bit of a risk. They're playing a very different sort of trade game here, and you can see that there's some awareness of the rotate round, the pick up of the kit, the rotate back towards gym window potentially. They might try and lock out the fight here to the right first. There's the stun over the top. They're drawing the attention, but that's going to buy them the opportunity to get in.
Great double swing.
Shaiko gets another for his tally. Bride gets one more. And 20 seconds. The opening 2 bodies were theirs, but Shaiko with a 4K. Gets the lockout at the end of the round, and a long route and road here, Demo. But now I can say with some safety that there is at least 1, if not 2 rounds left of this map. Total.
Really good team play there in the double up the guy main stairs. Really good play from Falcons. Again, knowing the positions of where MACKO were coming in from. Yeah, just take the 2-on-1. So credit to them. Shaiko obviously went big. And again, it comes back to the hot take I said, where again, I don't think the team play on this Falcons team is good enough for where they are, you know, getting all those grand finals this year. It comes down to individuals stepping up big time, and again, there's a perfect example. Shaiko coming in big. I don't know, again, just Falcons, it's
I'm reloading.
It's such a weird one, because you just think a year on since this team formed,
Reinforcement complete.
and they're still having the struggles that they've been having this year, you would have thought they would have they would have been ironed out. You know, yes, you see some of the big teams like, you know, Furia, W7M, FaZe. I've just named 3 Brazilian teams, but again, just because I mean, even VP to an extent. You know, they're teams who have been together for a long period of time, and it's very rare you would see them have like a pretty bad game. Usually they come in, they do their job, they go home. Whereas Falcons this season, you know, we've seen quite a few times where we're just banging our head against the wall thinking, this team, how are they still at this point in their career?
At this point, MACKO have to once again dig into the pits of being back against the wall and trying to make some success out of it. Very quickly and proportionally pushed back towards the site, but they're not entirely letting go of the rest of the map just yet. Hoping to try and remove the gain of the drone game. This is just being watched by users. But it's Solotov that's droning their way up. Shaiko's going for the pinch underneath. I mean, how confident are they, I guess? And have they been able to slip a little bit through the information network there? Or are they just trying to clear as much as they want? It's some pressure from above. There's the reveal again that they know what they're doing, but at this point, Akwi goes back the other way. You know, made some noise, and he's just sort of trying to draw their focus, but it seems like Falcons are ignoring it. Remember, Demo, how many times Falcons have found success of just pushing in towards the site? Are we going to see that again? EFAC does get caught out by Teb, and Solotov misses his big moment against Dora. Now, if they can try and push this kill, it becomes a 5 versus 3. The impact and everything thrown towards them, but it's an awkward approach here. Either side is narrow, and Bride's on the back. It's a trade out. But Solotov gets one down to a pistol. There's Blind.
Wow.
Gets the second, but Teb also keeps the pressure on. Shaiko moves through the fire, and Ghost gets them dropped. Solotov the first here, but the last left standing. Spraying over the top, a minute 10. They know exactly where he is. Might know they've got the kit down inside dirt as well, but they don't even need to care about that. Demo, we are going all of the way.
We are, and for Falcons, a lot of their basements today have just been revolved around getting kills, which is not really the typical way we see clubhouse basements go down. A lot of that is coming down from blue, and to put it simply, MACKO just adapted to it. You know, they're doubling up players inside of blue. They're not going to give Solotov that easy walk down as what they have previously. You know, it feels as though that MACKO, they're digging themselves into their fortifications, and they just know that there's not going to be a util dump, because there never really has been from Falcons wherever they've attacked basement. All of it has just came down from trying to play off kills. And if MACKO are trying to play as reserves as they can, put themselves in tricky positions, and more importantly, trade the kills back, which they did really well in that round, that is what's rewarding them with a pretty simple defensive win. So here we are, round 15 on Clubhouse, with the way that this game has started. And then into the second half, you didn't, just, it's a weird game. A lot of up and downs. Where we go, I will never know. And we went for a basement for Falcons.
Because this is a game that seems unending in how it can find new surprises. Down towards the basement, as you said, and well, this was actually where the last game ended up as well. A very different score. I know I've pointed parallels, but it was a Church and Arsenal that was the final approach from MACKO on attack. And they weren't quite able to get it netted together, obviously. And it opened with a user from Teb kill quite late, just shy of the minute marker. So maybe the pickup in pace can be the difference here. They've been very good at catching the roamers, and EFAC's gone back to this roam game. It hasn't been historically this game successful for Falcons. They've sort of dabbled in it. They've thrown themselves up, but their best times on defense have come from not playing into it. MACKO, it doesn't seem like they want to go for the full send and clear up top again. They know that time has been a bit of a pressure, so they're getting themselves all the options open and kind of chasing at the minute more than anything. You obviously got Solotov not a million miles away, assuming that was such a Burrell outline there towards the top of the main stairs. They've got the hatches, and there is a clear steadying its way across the top right now. There's a lot of jobs being done at once here by MACKO. Will EFAC be able to get some punishment, or is a Monty about to make friends? Do they know? The rotate behind him. Oh, I think he just looked towards him at the right time. There needs to be a call out of it, and he's dropped down the hatch. Clever play here, and EFAC's off to the club.
Also was able to impact off the Habana pellets over towards Mota, I believe, so that has wasted a util a bit of time, and now they have to go and waste even more time. Look, EFAC is dead. He knows it. We all know it. It's just, when will he die is the question, and how quickly can MACKO deal with him? Oh, don't tell me they're just going to leave him. Don't know how I feel about that, because with a Monty, that should be a pretty free pick. Because really, where's he going to go? So this is very risky, leaving a player that they know, roaming, is upstairs.
I mean, at this point, he just needs to find the right time to come back, and he'll still trade out and draw attention, but now they're still hitting themselves against the utility on the site itself. They know that there's nowhere clear or calm to watch, and I'm a little bit worried here for MACKO. They got to have a hell of a plan to make this land, because it is 40 seconds, 2 C4s and a smoke canister to try and battle against. There's also still the chance at Shaiko using that Kiba wherever he's just thrown it to build himself more aggressively in. Lolo moving behind the fire itself. Bride is going to be the first fight to be found, and he's Just
Another
popping.
Goyo. Nice.
Another Goyo, full sent it. There's the rotate. Hits the ankle, but barely any damage. The cover of the smoke, but they've pushed themselves in. They don't get the kill. Round the back, the C4 gets the down onto the Monty. Now, EFAC moves himself into an aggressive position, but with the Monty down, this approach is tougher to make. Ghost does get it, but there's 10 blimmin' seconds left here, Demo. They gotta get a shift on. Picking the Monty up, going for the drop. It's 2 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills to go Falcons' way. And MACKO just could not get it to land. All the distance Falcons needed.
Oh, big from Falcons. I mean, that Goyo canister to give Bride that breathing room was crucial for Falcons. If they lost that dirt player, obviously for Falcons, after their first map we just seen, it's probably one to forget and one we just want to move on into the next map, into Nighthaven. And again, don't forget that, of course, this is MACKO's pick. So
Yes.
you would assume that MACKO have a pretty good game plan coming into this one, but I think Freshy referenced it during before the first game happened, whereas you look at Club and you look at Labs. Labs is almost like a modern day Clubhouse in many senses.
Okay, I agree with you, but I want you to break it down.
The reason why is they're both kind of revolved around getting hard breach walls open, yeah? We've seen that actually it's something that MACKO maybe struggled with a little bit if we actually really deep dive into how their Clubhouse went. So does that fill us with a massive amount of joy going into, again, equally a similar map? Probably not. I will say that Labs also gives you much more breathing room in terms of going for a roam game. I think the rooms are bigger. There's more staircases that you can expose, whereas Club, yes, you have your moments, but they're very slim at that. So I think in terms of extensions and roam games, I think both teams will be well suited for this, and it will make things a little bit easier. I think Clubhouse, you can get claustrophobic very easily, I feel, whereas this map, not so much.
So let's see if this will start the same way the last map did, which was Falcons getting off to a pretty solid drive. Now, obviously, it was, you know, in the sort of grandest scheme of things, an attack-sided map last time. It kind of balanced out the final third, but think how close those rounds were. You know, coming down to the finalist throw potential. One of the stats that sort of lent into the favor towards the end of the game was the entry statistic, but they couldn't quite get the cementing of the kill behind them. Generally, MACKO have been a little bit ahead of the curve with this. There's been bulks and sections of it being pulled away from them. Like, it's such a narrow margin of who is ahead, but be wrong if I didn't mention that they were. There's quick pressure. Again, the double electric removal, and almost netted Bride with a different gun. That would have been a kill. Jaiko gets Dora, and now it's heavy pressure on the top of Fish, trying to just drive the rush and maybe take them a bit by surprise. If the Dokkaebi had maybe impacted 10 seconds later, whilst the pressure was here earlier on, they might have been able to get themselves a little bit more of a confident swing. But now instead, they know that there's an isolation. A lot of damage to Teb.
Wow.
It!
In MACKO, they've just tried the full stent free Fish. I think the idea was that Ghost was supposed to kill somebody in sight, and then they just flood in from that kill. But if the kill doesn't come, I don't think Falcons are going to be giving them out for free. So now we're at a massive stalemate where just neither side is wanting to move, but that will suit Falcons down to a T. They're the team that doesn't need to move. They're on the defense. You know, 3 players right now are stacked up, holding Fish.
Yeah, 3 guns, 1 lying down behind the desks to get the mirror window. Ooh, they just see the bullets and traces come from the lying down player, but it's Solotov with the swing out on towards Ghost. They doubled up and they were like, look, let's go deal with 1 problem with 2 of us, then we can at least win the trade and we can just focus elsewhere. Obviously now Lolo's taking some damage from a goo mine, but they're worried about being swung on. Akwi does get EFAC, puts us into the 3 versus 4, but with Teb so low, as soon as they get a whiff of any of these guns, they're in a tight spot. Spraying on, they've got the long watch, the Deimos track revealing the, you know, this Solotov tucked behind the Kiba here, but it's an awkward position to root them out. They know it's a fight up and down. They know they're not entirely going to get surrounded at this point, but again, as you said, it buys into what Falcons want, which is time. Time's on their favor. Push up and the knock right back down as Fish goes, and now It just leaves one in the warehouse, but the only thing seemingly stocked this round, Demo, is the Falcons. Clean up on aisle 9.
There's been a spillage, and it is sadly the blood of MACKO. And yeah, Falcons just don't need to do anything. You can see the attempt. The attempt from MACKO was to get that opening pick and then flood. The pick doesn't come, it's done. Yeah, and I think the more surprising thing is there wasn't a plan B. Like, they genuinely did not know what to do for about 2 minutes of the round. So I don't know who's thinking for MACKO, but they need to think a little bit harder, because what they were hoping was that they were just going to get gifted picks. You know, oh, maybe they'll swing us. Maybe one guy will try and flank and we can pick them off one by one. No, patience was good. It was good enough for Falcons, and yeah, they just sit, held their angles, easy round for them.
Organ's ready. Shoot it if you need it. Initiate jammer.
1-0 as they set themselves up to a start and seemingly a lot more control than before. And this is that risk right now. Starting on their defense here, on MACKO's map pick, it gets Falcons the chance to build a big divide. Yes, this map is one that could play itself towards either side, attack or defense, but there's something about being in this situation where, you know, the further and further away you get from how intense the end of the last map was, the worse that sort of hangover of an intense game feels. You had 8-7, couple of throws from either team, couple of what-if moments from either team, and then suddenly you're 2, 3 rounds, 4 rounds down maybe on a much slower pace. It just makes that come down hit much harder for MACKO. They need to try and key in towards some of that energy that drove them in here. Quick break. On towards both the double and the ambush side. But other than that, pulls themselves back and lets the pressure start to come across those top, well, mid-floor players.
That's what I mean with the extension that Labs gives you. It will allow Falcons to really stretch their legs, and for a player like EFAC, even more so. But he needs to be careful that he doesn't get caught out in that window. Will just overlook games and somehow gets across it. Oh, Lolo almost gets taken out. He was hunting for EFAC, but not aware that there's a second player joining him right now. And MACKO just making steady progress across from Kitchen, but now this is where the real fun begins. It's getting in towards games, trying to clear the player out of vending if they can, and then obviously pushing towards storage where that vertical pressure can start being applied, but they need to get there first.
Reloading.
So,
setting up a breaching sequence.
Pressure comes on towards the hatch. They're looking down, making their way via Exo. There is still obviously that slow-moving Solotov crouch directly above the vertical, but now they have this vending stairs. They've got that player isolated and shut off. However, how aware are they of the position? Are they trying to be a bit sneaky? Are they going to try and get the cement and the lockdown on that player? Are they going to risk it for the control? Can they trust leaving a loose player? We saw the effect of a loose Falcons. I think it was even a Goyo as well. Last round, last map. It cannot be something that strikes them again, Demo.
The issue is that you kind of need to go storage, because if Solotov has like a head hole or just a floor hole, anything, he can stop them going in from for default plant. But right now, MACKO, they're just going to see if they can full send it in. And oh, down goes Solotov. And yeah, that should be a clean sweep for MACKO. Nobody above, no pressure. All that C4. Again, they can bait it out. Still plenty of time to work with.
Yeah, that's the C4, and Akwi survives with a face full of shrapnel, but as the blinds come round, there needs to be some following pressure. There's a slip on by, but Dora was actually shooting somebody else, and MACKO with a flawless response towards bring us back tied up.
Yeah, dealt the guy above. I think for MACKO was pretty clear-cut and dry. Didn't lose anyone whenever they were clearing out the roamers, which is always a positive for them. And pushed people back into sight. It did feel as though that I think Falcons could have been more reactive than what they were. A lot of them just kind of sat in sight. Whereas maybe, should there have been a call that says retake above, perhaps? Maybe would that have helped them? Because it did feel as though a lot of them were just kind of sitting in the other bomb site. And how on earth are they going to be able to stop the plant from where they are? If there's the guy in the main breach, what are you going to do? Would it not maybe be better going for the retake, seeing if you can pressure them above? make it so it's uncomfortable for MACKO, where they just can't, you know, push one way. Yeah, certainly I think the Falcons player just needed to do a little bit more here.
I mean, I think that was it. Like, there's a very fun statistic that I started looking at of how these two teams have played on labs over the past about 180 days. Both of them have played it twice in that time. Won it once, lost it once. But the divide between the pair of them, like, they've even played exactly the same amount of rounds of attack and defense on it as well. MACKO, slightly worse on attack, slightly better on defense, but it's almost mirrored for Falcons. It's such a narrow margin. Both of them have negative KDs in this as well, so this first half, where technically they're both currently operating on their weaker half, if MACKO can get their sort of foot ahead, can get some confidence and can start, it's almost the reverse of what I talked about before, where Falcons, remember that long run of rounds, they could not get anything landed. When they're on their defense, if that starts to happen, suddenly you have the alarm bells sort of ringing of, oh no, last time MACKO built momentum, they got 5 rounds in a row.
So obviously it's going to be this extension that MACKO have to go up against again. This will be a common theme. It's just this constant roam pressure that Falcons will try and deliver. Again, it just feels as though that MACKO, they're trying to avoid that and just walk into sight. And again, it's not working for them. Just don't know what the idea is. Look at this, Bride. Just line them up, knocking them down as a whole. Watching on to that game's door, and last guy know where he is now. That's that IT breach. Matter of seconds, the round's done, more or less.
Yep. You know, it's weird, right? They go from a flawless attack, piece by piece, seemingly great awareness on where everyone is, picking their fights at the right time, to that. And it's almost like they had a great strat book for one round, and then the page was ripped out for the next, and they're like, what do we do? I don't know, let's just send it. You know, might be able to get the edge, but only really if they're allowed here, right? At this point, Shaiko's just perfectly predicted.
Oh, baited. That was nice.
Gets Shaiko not killed though, so we'll have to go back to his other watch. There's 30 seconds at this point. He's sort of using him to fish for other players. They just need to set up to play on contact. You can see one's rotated their way across the divide. The other, perfectly read.
Weird. Very, very weird. They go from playing really well in that basement where they had a clear-cut idea of what they wanted to do. Then that time, it just, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. They don't have upstairs control. How can they go for that take? Yes, they've got IT breach open. But then how do you kill the guy who's inside IT, or not inside it, who's inside storage below IT, if you can't play the verts to clear that guy whenever you haven't taken above in the first place?
It was, as I said, it felt like they maybe expected something else, but it's hard to gauge what would be different there.
It's all well and good opening up IT breach because it stops the Falcons players from holding the window. Yeah, everyone knows that. But there's nothing stopping a defender just sat in storage. The only way you can remove the guy inside of storage is by pushing games, which they can't do because they didn't take above, as we've seen Bride holding onto that door. Or two, you open up above him, which again, they can't do because they didn't go above.
Well, now we're back. Back towards the top floor. Will it be continually traded rounds? And will there be a break on the site? There was a slight change of shield.
5
Step
seconds
to the Monty. And Dora to the Capitao. Now, we saw what was going to be a sharp play this time round. The limitations, though. The triple hard breach ban. Demo, you said it was a hard breach map. Falcons agreed and then made sure that it could be.
Yeah, forces yourself into a lot of hard breach gadgets, and they will be bringing in 4 of them. 2 from the Cat. And, of course, 2 from the Grim. Now, we've seen EFAC hit Pulse. Now, this operator, of course, on this map has plenty of potential because there is a hefty amount of verticality destruction that you can do from below. And just the general consensus of finding out where players are. He's going to gather really good information. And especially with how MACKO have kind of played this map so far, they have tried to go pretty quick, you know, off the kind of beaten track. And if EFAC is able to scan them out early and don't allow them to go for these quick pocket plays, it can spot out where players are. It will help his team massively. If he's able to get a C4 on, for example, the Monty, really where do MACKO go from there? So this could be a really big pick, but EFAC, it's all down to him to make the plays.
Well, they've been able to use the Monty to strong arm control here, the walkway. Hoping to try and put the pressure onto Solotov, but you remember how we sort of talked about Falcons? They entirely shifted their defense at the 3 people watching fish. When they realized it was a fish play, they're more than happy to do the opposite here. Pull the pressure away, get them out of the room, lean back in. Seemingly great awareness on MACKO's approach here. But baiting out the pressure, drawing them in, hoping to get more of them lured to this. The Grim watching and waiting for the swing round. Lolo wants to make their way up from behind, and a great camera just watches a death. There's 2. What a... I mean, it's a great removal there from the side of Falcons. They get rid of the Monty, get rid of Ghost, but you kind of question what happened a bit there, Demo.
Is IT Breach? IT Breach is open, yeah? It should be open. But if it's open, how is Shaiko swinging IT to kill the Monty and Rafters? I don't know how that's happened. EFAC's been able to pick up good information, knowing where Aqui is, and that should be a free kill with C4, which it will be. So yeah, Pulse. Pick. Didn't see that one coming in a flawless. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know what they're doing.
4 rounds, 2 flawlesses. Either team has been able to pull them together, but for all the compliments that we paid to MACKO on the last map, the team play that they played, the approaches, outside of that 1 flawless round, they've just looked a little bit lost. Like the first round, you could see the MO, right? You could see the play, you could see the plan, you could see the opportunities. Other than that, it feels like it's half of a plan and then things go a little bit out the window.
Okay. Yeah, so Ghost is just allowing the lead. So Ghost wasn't on IT Bridge. He was, for some reason, on Catlock. I don't know. It's basic stuff is not being followed here by MACKO. You cannot allow Shaiko just to swing at IT and kill your monster like that. You can't.
Well, they did. So, I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, the thing that gets me is you look at what he was doing. He was sat on a drone. The drone was in the site. What possible information would he be gathering that the Monty already hasn't gathered? Why is he sat on a site drone whenever there's a Monty looking into that bomb site?
That was the thing. I complimented the drone as a good bit of intel, but not knowing that they weren't doing the rest of it, right? Like, I was like, oh, that's good. They know when there's a swing there. But you also, more importantly, need somebody to cover the swing there. Like, that's job 1.
Frustrating.
It's like a ranked round that me and Tim once threw on Border. And I've instantly just set fresh off wherever he is. Where I was... I'm not going to go into detail, but... similar aspects, watching cams in a 2 versus 1 and hacking cameras for no reason. Anyway, listen, we still won the map. Anyway, 3-1.
You've won the map, but didn't hear you won the round.
No, we lost the round bad. I fully take responsibility. It was very funny. 3-1.
Launching override.
Falcons, and they've looked, I want to say, not truly tested. Right? There was the great round, but otherwise they haven't had to do a lot, and that's not really a compliment or a negative comment. That is just a comment about, oh yeah, they're playing this one through. You know, they're happy and comfortable right now. They're in their element. They're not being stressed. They're not being thrown too many curveballs. It all seems pretty run-of-the-mill, which is obviously a sign of good prep. It's a sign of them getting an awareness on how MACKO like to approach, and everything is, yeah, going swimmingly by the book right now. Aqua's tried to cut their way through the middle. They're about to find a fight on the swing. Ooh, do they know exactly where the player is? Oh, but they still lose it. Brady stands for bloody hell. How's he done that? 5-2. Solotov makes it 5-1, and start slamming the tack time button.
Oh, Ghost. Yeah, another flop, just back to back. Well, now this was always the worry. It's, yes, I mentioned that Falcons has been a difficult watch, but there have been moments where they flick that switch and they are just unbeatable. And I think that switch has been flicked, because right now they are winning in every department. And this feels like the MACKO that we seen last week against EP.
Yep.
It feels very timid. There's no energy in the team. Fresh praised them massively in how they were able to rally themselves inside a clubhouse. And the energy level was high. They were 4-0 down and they went 4-1 and the energy was immediately there. We're not getting the same right now for MACKO. We're not. I think the biggest issue with MACKO is severe lack of comms. It doesn't feel as though they're pushing together. They're almost trying to be a little bit lazy and use the Dokkaebi as their form of 3-2-1. I seen the first Dokkaebi call come out and nobody really pushed off it. The first Dokkaebi call was just a waste. And then it felt as though they pushed using the second one just because they felt as though, oh, well, if we're using Dokkaebi call, we have to push. You know, why is there no bits of util being tossed in? Like, there's nades there from Dora. No, Dora could chuck the nade in towards that storage. Could have moved them out of position. There's so much util as well, flashbangs and everything, that is just not being used by MACKO because they're not talking about how do you want to do this, right? I'll push in, you flash, you nade him, 3, 2, 1, Dokkaebi call, yeah, boom, dead. They're not doing that. It just feels one by one, trying to play guns up. And right now, they're not winning their gunfight, so that's not going to work. Falcons are on it, and now look at Brede. Clean double kill. You're not going to beat that. You have to try and make them uncomfortable.
So on the first map we had
5 seconds remaining.
a sort of mixed performance. I think it's fair to call from some of the players. There was slow burns to get into it. Remember how, for example, Solotov's map started and how it ended. But the same with Shaiiko as well. The pair of them, they didn't have the greatest start and then sort of built in towards the end to get themselves a bit more level, a bit more positive. And here, between the pair of them, a death apiece, 7 and 5. They have just been so happy because they're in these swing positions, right? They're waiting for the approach on towards the hold. As I said, they're not really being fully pressured, and then they can just, oh, yep, there's one. Oh, yep, pull back. Oh, yep, there's another. And they're so in their element. And as you said it perfectly, MACKO need to find a way to pull them out of it. And the Flores breaks, and the approach up top. I said this was technically both these halves technical weaker. Doesn't mean it's weak, but it's the weaker. However, statistically, this is far away from what MACKO should really be angling to keep themselves level. And even more importantly, after their tack timeout, if this round goes away from them, if they do not get a good first engagement and then some clean air afterwards, they're going to be pitting sooner rather than later. Teb wants to start rolling and putting pressure here on the player underneath. It might just be to try and distract them, but there's nobody to put pressure on IT above at the same time. Instead, it's a shotgun swing. They almost met. There's the blinds. There's the calls. Is there anything going behind it, though? It's some approach on towards vending. It's a direct cut and drive through. They're worried about being caught on the swing. It's another call. There's a player on the hatch themselves that might try and put the pressure on, but there's Lolo getting Brede. Well, it just dropped immediately down the hatch. The reveal. They're inside gaming. They're playing pool. You need to start potting them. Teb tries an effect, gets caught out. The blind through the drone hole, gets the swing round on that last caught player. And this from MACKO has been phenomenal. Step by step, procedural destruction. The post plant, Shaiiko would have to ace clutch to get themselves this round.
Ooh. Well, he'll make a good effort at it, but predefined in 30 seconds to do so. It's gonna be a big ask, and he finds the third. Well, more or less has found the third. Will secure the kill. 2 more to find, but the important thing is to note, look where that diffuser's planted. He's never going to be able to kill both of them before that diffuser. It's going to be given him enough time to go for it. He will try an attempt at the long arm, but as expected, an easy swing. And MACKO, this time, doing the job. Now, biggest difference, the util actually working well. actually coordinating with one another. The Yings go in to give that cover of those guys pushing in towards games. Very fortunate that nobody upstairs actually had made kill holes. Falcons went for the kind of like mirror setup where they were above, trying to hold into IT, holding rafters. They had obviously the vertical angles being made. They didn't go for that time, and that actually opened up the door for MACKO just be able to walk in safely in towards storage and take those fights. So yeah, surprising that Falcons didn't just rinse and repeat their same strategy. They went for something different, and it has backfired for them. So yeah, much better for MACKO. You could sense that it was a better played round, better util usage. Again, certainly the comms were there. They synergized really well with one another. So yeah, 4-2. Still a big uphill battle for MACKO, but gives them a chance. Game on.
Game on. And it's a good way of doing it. It was, I guess the timeout was perfect because all of those elements of seemingly weighing up the numbers, all of the pocket play, all of the team play, the fact that the 2 rounds that they got were, one was a flawless, and then one was a 1 versus 5 post-plant that they'd managed to wrangle themselves, sort of shows that when they are firing on their cylinders, they are so sharp. But outside of that, they just could not find those cylinders. The cylinders demo, gone. Where were they?
How about I ask you? How about you answer it for a change?
Well, they just were using a different engine. We know some great engines come out of Italy, but that was an old tractor one, I think.
Tractor.
A modern tractor engine's a great engine. I'm just getting us excited to farm.
Oh, no, don't say that. Freshly excited. Don't say that.
And Tim somewhere.
Tim somewhere. Buzzing. Oh.
Oops.
I mean, that's what they needed. That's the match that you need to see.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like I said, they're down and out. You may as well have a punt. And you've had a punt and they've won some money.
Got the ace. Got a brilliant ace to get rid of. Got, you know, the limitation now on what is a single tin opener on a site and a map that requires hard breach. They get the spray round and a very extended engagement. Shaiko finds Dora at the same second. The Deimos. Pressure above. Now it's a 4 versus 3 demo.
It's a little bit.
Well, this has been turned very quickly in its head, and don't forget that was the ace, which is typically an operator you'd love to have for this bomb site. Just because, again, think of the walls downstairs that you need to get opened up, and it really just limits Falcons into only having the 2 hard breach gadgets, and typically those are just going to be used for hatches. So I think Falcons, they will have to try and go for a hatch drop at some point if they do plan on prioritizing the plant, but they may also just try and go for these kills here because they have spotted a Legion out by himself on kind of secluded corner of the map here, but it's just a case of, are they going to try and go for him or just try and leave him be?
I'm reloading. Tracker on the
They're eyeing themselves a drive down cargo. But with Aqui on the hunt. Caught the Deimos, almost caught the Blitz. Has to move, hot-footed somewhere safe, but where is safe? Didn't go above, is about to find another fight, but he wasn't. Oof, I thought he was aware of it. But he knew that at some point there'd be pressure behind him. He wasted a player in about 15, 20 seconds, which is great. They still have 40 to try and get this to land. A 3 versus 2 with the shield, with the Blitz, but 4 smokes as the cover. Is that now very tangible threat? Without the hard destruction, without that work done, they could put their backs towards the back of the site. You know where they're not going to be coming from, and that makes knowing where they are going to be much easier. There is this Brede pressure from Animus. Use this second pocket breach, though. Gets themselves in. The pressure, the drop, the coverage around either side. There's the smoke on anything that could get an early pick. Brede has to pick his moment perfectly. Blinded and hit by the impact, but Ghost gets one on Brede, leaving themselves alone. Look at the time. Sprayed on the back and through the soft.
Oh, just about. Still think the Blitz had enough time there. Yes, we heard the kind of timer starting to tell us, you know, hurry up and plant, but still plenty of time. All the time in the world, really, for Falcons at that point. But yeah, I think Falcons, they just played really well with that extra man. And I think that they took their time oh so well. The patience that they had, just, you know, let's not move too fast. Let's wait. Let's get the drone work in. We'll make it really easy for our blitz player, which I think they've done that well. You know, send the blitz in, targeting these individual 1v1 engagements, which works, again, really well. If you are a shield player, that's where you want to be. And just slowly get it over the line. So, yeah, really good work overall for Falcons.
Cover me!
I think getting those 2 kills upstairs in conjunction was really big, but, you know, that's really unlucky, isn't it? Just the next player he turns to has to be a shield, then he gets unlucky with a 50-50. He was holding that angle, thinks, oh, no one's there, just happens to be there at the stage. But, yeah, like I said, still plenty of time for that blitz to even finish off, so... Yeah, Falcons, a well-played round from them. MACKO, they tried to hit it hard at the start, but... just couldn't get the kills back in their favor where it mattered most.
To locate a bomb and defuse it.
Your very existence annoys me.
What did I do?
5-2. Timeout already
Loading new
used.
mag.
MACKO have a lot of pressure ahead of them. They've been able to thread 5 rounds in a row just earlier today, but there, with the sort of lead that they had that withered away, was almost brought back. And it came down to 8 seconds.
Reloading.
It still feels like Falcons, we said it at the start, they'll either have these moments where they're in their head, things start to go around, they go to comfort picks and that team play falls apart, or they are sharp as a razor. And I think they've just been sharpening that razor throughout this playday so far. It was great reaction to the problems ahead of them. They were thrown sort of risky ice to step across. And they took their time with it.
Yeah, just look at the kills, though. I mean, Solotov and Shaiko.
Oh,
Top of the world right now.
Target detected.
And that just doesn't help. You know, things of your match go, and nobody in their team is positive at the moment. It's a very one-sided affair. And again, Falcons, I just think that the pacing here, Emmy, is exceptional from them. I just think they're slowing the pace down, just taking their time with it. They're not trying to rush it, which I mentioned before. I felt as though they rushed a lot of things during their clubhouse where people were just getting ahead of themselves, whereas now it's a lot more locked in, isn't it? They're using their heads.
I think it's sort of that thing where they've cooled down, and you know, as I said, the pressure sort of resource at the end of this, those are side points. There's only really a lot for the first place. Everybody else gets a pittance, and you would otherwise have a long wait to fight for more of them. There is a down at the bottom of Fish. Solotov the Damon's got caught, probably trapping somebody and suffered the wrong side of it, but it's a long spray and a fight. Falcons, they're going to keep pushing on. Akwi does find Efak, Ghost finds Shaiko. There's the end of Solotov. So this one, fortunately, they tried to solve a problem by forcing their way through it. Usus does find one. Again, Usus and Bride against a clash of all. Try and find an end to this round.
Be difficult for them. Match, we're not looking to give them any picks, and this should be an easy pick for Akwi, which it will be. And again, they know exactly where Bride is going to be, and that clash can just meander over and bury this round where it stands. Just a case of who's going to get the kill. Who wants it? Anyone? There we go. Lolo is the highest bidder. So, for Falcons, you could see that the Capitao seen an opportunity to kill the guy inside a pillar. You know, he just caught the backside of him and he thought, oh, I'll fire this guy out. Now, maybe it's a case of, should Efak have waited for his team to start pushing in from connector? Because if that fire arrow goes in and you have somebody swinging from the connector breach at the same time, that guy's dead. So I just think Efak probably should have calmed that a little bit better. The idea was good because generally if someone isn't towards that pillar area, a little bit of crowd control is going to work for them, i.e. the fire arrow. But he just should have waited for his team to get ready. It felt as though maybe it was just 2 seconds too soon before they went for that initial execute. But very unlucky. I'm surprised Efak didn't get like a single kill as well, because he was shooting so many people but just couldn't connect with one of them.
Sometimes it falls in your favor, and sometimes it drifts, unfortunately, far away. 5-3. It feels a lot nicer than it did not too long ago. But, you know, Falcons, they still have been able to wrest control of this game back and forth. It's not really been as heavy-handed of rounds trade as possible. Can MACKO do what they haven't been able to do this map so far? Tie a couple together here. There'll be an extension, as they often do, with a sort of stretch above. It's an important piece of territory to keep the lock into. And I'm curious to see how Falcons try and root this one out. There's obviously a partial approach here. Open up the windows, create that phantom pressure, create the threat that if you drop down, you're going to get caught anyway. So stay up and fight, and you're going to get caught anyway. But with 3 players above, it's going to turn into a bit of a brawl here.
So obviously with that top floor being locked out, it will force them now into that mid floor. And still a similar setup, though, in terms of MACKO, where they will be roaming upstairs. So Falcons, of course, will have to adapt to that. Now, Falcons haven't brought in a massive amount of soft destruction, though. That's one thing to also keep in mind. They've got a few breaching charges from Usis and maybe just the Deimos pistol. That's all they've got. So it's just something they need to be careful of, is if they are looking at trying to push in towards storage, for example, and again, getting the line of sight onto the player who could be inside of storage may be difficult for them. But still, just steadily making their progress, again, across towards this top floor. You've got about 2 or 3 roamers, I believe, upstairs at the moment, and they will try and defend themselves with some reinforced walls and mute jammers, but they have since been taken care of, and it will force one of them down through that pillar hatch. But still, guy remaining upstairs, that is going to be Ghost, but probably at this stage, he needs to try and pull back because he's got no one with him. He's got no support, and he will start to do so, pull his way back in towards Fish now.
There's only really a minute left, and we know that they can move quickly when they have that position of the 3-2-1 go, but the repositioning of MACKO means that that game has to keep evolving, keep changing. You can see the aggressive step up here to try and find Shaiko, but Shaiko just gets the direct track out. Will they know? Yes, they do. Oh dear, there is support coming up the stairs, but he wins it out anyway. Didn't even need the Valkyrie. Solotov does find Akwi, but 40 seconds left now, and at this point, with the pressure of that grenade gone, with Dora getting one more, and Lolo too, MACKO starting to spur themselves to life. They've delayed and sort of deferred Falcons to have to alternate routes. They're concerned about entirely going for the plant, misses an opportunity. And I think they've realized they're trying to be used as bait here, so they're not going to send themselves any further. But 15 seconds, Bride finding a fight by themselves underneath, still unable to get it connected. Usis does get Teb, but no time to get to the kit and follow through, so just tries to dunk on Teb a little bit.
Well, he wouldn't be the first pro. And yeah, another round for MACKO. Just not looking to give away picks, I think, is the main thing for MACKO right now. They're making Falcons work for these rounds. They're not looking to sit above and die. It's, you know, as soon as that little bit of pressure comes in, you know what? We'll take it. Let's just go. Let's just fall back into almost the second line of defense. Start playing around each other. I think Shaiko, just he's obviously went for that 1v1, and you have to give credit to Ghost, because beating Shaiko on that Deimos is a difficult thing to do, and Ghost has done that. So again, another big kill. But even still, you pointed it out, even if Shaiko was to get that kill, we seen the trade was coming from the stairs anyway. We knew that there's another man, so MACKO are supporting one another, which was great to see. And again, these Falcon players, where I said they've had these tendencies where some players have went off on their own little side quest. That's where you need to punish Falcons.
Well, the tag timeout of Falcons, leaving us with just the game ahead of ourselves from this point onwards. They can feel that the winds have changed. They've drifted a bit away. Whatever that team talk was of Falcons has led them to obviously 3 successes since. But they're building that momentum. Falcons do not want to suffer the same fate they had last map, where MACKO, as I said, did the same thing. 5-4 could very quickly become 5-5, which was... This was the position that Falcons were sort of on the wrong side of last time, and then made a comeback towards winning it at the end. They do not want to give MACKO the same reward. They do not want to see a map 3. They do not want to go to Dostoyevsky. Now the play here, the Maestro cam, the pull on that information, it's a lot of slow inside and brawl inside the site. MACKO, they often love to extend themselves all the way, and the reinforcing here onto Kitchen, waste that time, give themselves a route down the sort of exo stairs if they want a way out. Said they're a team that loves the aggression. They're going to try and bait out a kill or two, bait out all the attention they can, but then they can pull back towards what was, what, 5-10 seconds left at the end? They've got Goyos, they've got Maestros, they've got Banshees, they've got everything to try and make it a brawl.
Reloading!
It depends if they've got everything to try and make it a brawl in the final minute, or if Falcons can dispatch the Roamers quickly.
That's not even the case of dispatching the Roamers. You've got a Brava and a Twitch. One goes for each operator you've mentioned. You know, the Goyo going to be done in by the Twitch, and then obviously the Brava for the Maestro. So I think it's the case of getting the drones in and making sure you can snatch or / destroy the bits of util that you've mentioned. So for Falcons, they also have all of the tools to make this round pretty easy for themselves by wiping out a massive amount of util that MACKO have brought to the party. Now, certainly for MACKO, again, still with this aggressive nature, and it's the team that we've seen throughout the stage, and I'm happy to see them go for it again, and Solotov, almost bites the dust. Does lose a Twitch drone, and I've mentioned we kind of need them for the Goyo canisters, but MACKO are going to try and deny access to the building, just full stop, not even let them in.
Well, there goes the Brava. There almost goes the Twitch. Won't know that they've got the confirm there, and EFAC gets Acqui. They are pinging the route to the player, but where they are, I mean, chances are they can get them back up, but it's time. Precious, precious time. 20, 30 seconds, pulling the players out of position, having to go get Solotov back up to then, what, get on drone, focus on the utility down below. There's the pickup. I don't think that was ever in doubt, but it just forces Falcons, again, that precious game of pulled away. Dora still has the direct vertical on towards the double breach if they've made it. Oh, Tab has EFAC up through the hatch. Drops the kill, or even it wasn't through the hatch. We were watching Shaiko on the hatch as Tab got the kill through a different section of vertical. Now as it's replaced the pressure, they pull themselves back round. 4 versus 3, and here's that play that I talked about. The Banshees, the cameras, all of this intel, just letting you know that their approach is going to be slowed by another 5 seconds. That was the difference, the ending last time round. They only have 30 left. And they don't have the vertical control. They're trying to make their way through onto the default plant, but they've got to keep Dora distracted above. They've got to make sure that they are confident to swing. So that is the job here of Solotov. There's 2 players. Sorry, there's 1 player. They're watching, and they are able to keep them busy, but there's that vertical a second too late. Solotov did his job, and now it's down for Bride and Shaiko to try and do the end of it. Dora and Lolo want to fight their way back across slowly and steadily. Single engagements. The Bride wins one out. And now as Lolo pulls them into the 1 versus 1, it's a fantastic gun on a slow operator against Bride with not a lot of health. Holding on towards the Exo side. There's the first, there's the second, there's the swing! Confirms the kill. They thought they had the time, and they were right. Lolo levels it out and ties us back up.
Oh, Lolo, massive, massive moment in this map. Needed to make that happen, and a round almost being pulled out beneath them. Really, the fact that MACKO were almost losing that round, I mean, they were losing that round at a point before Lolo came in with the LMG. I mean, Solotov above, cracking shot onto that second player. It put the Valkyrie under heaps and heaps of stress, because he couldn't really play the vertical safely if there's a guy bearing down on him. Diffuser goes down, it gets into a 2v1. You think, okay, now there's a moment here that all of a sudden Falcons are in the driving seat, and Lolo just finds 2 of them. What a shot there from Bride as well, but Lolo just bakes them in well enough, and again that LMG just pre-fire for days. Wow. By 5.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
5-5 once again, Demo.
Reloading.
We are finding ourselves brawling back and forth, but it doesn't change the fact that this could still be a 2-mapper, regardless of how intense the 2 maps are. And it is a big divide here for MACKO. At this point, Falcons They still need to try and find just some of the magic that seems further and further away. Obviously, when they got onto this half, they got themselves in the 5-2 position, I remind you, winning that first attack. And since then, the 3 rotate, it's come back from the side of MACKO, it's pulled out the timeout from Falcons as well, so they have that out of the way. They're able to go back to these sites, these places, and Solotov is still playing brilliantly. The guns of Falcons haven't really stopped firing, but they just cannot kind of find that way to get it to land. MACKO, all of them, getting and routing to these positions that just push the final swing. And the difference there, a 1 versus 1 post-plant clutch, or 1 versus 2 even post-plant clutch, to keep them off of map point, as ShyCo does find Dora. Clash gone early.
My air jab is deployed.
It's a big pick, sets Falcons up nicely now into the next 2 minutes of the round, but it's always seen if they can take this to the ground. And ShyCo finds another one, and again, I think just losing that clash, it makes it really easy for ShyCo. He doesn't have to worry about the clash or a Mira or an Azami, because both of those are also banned. So ShyCo can just control that garage now and just put massive amount of pressure. Even the trip wall's been reinforced. It just, you basically opened the door and said to ShyCo, just come on in to the catwalk, nobody's here. And there we go, another one for ShyCo. You've just gave him way too much map control here.
Locked in, focused, ShyCo. Terrifying 3 words to put in order. Gets the flash on the swing round, gets his fork, there is an ace! Locked in, terrifying ShyCo, the player that he is, pushes Falcons on towards map and series point. Have we found a limit?
Guy.
Just that guy,
isn't he? Ugh. Said before, I've never seen a player who can do what ShyCo does. Just make, like, an ace makes it look so effortless. Like, it really does. So smooth, clean. Yeah. Oh, he's up for it, isn't he? You can just he's just look at his face. He wants more. He wants back-to-back aces, probably.
I think, I mean, there just pushes into it. Like, he gets the second. It's frustrating because he does make it look so easy. Yep. Like, it's just so perpetually clean. And 6-5.
Device placed.
Falcons, 1 round separates them from progressing through the bracket towards first place or towards the SI points they so desperately crave. MACKO, 1 round separates them from falling down into the 5th and 6th playoff. A Challenger Series team that challenged the best of them and still are. Could find themselves, unfortunately, leaving with nothing but, well, a consolation prize playoffs.
So, last time we were here, Falcons kind of struggled with kind of locking down MACKO, and that's because MACKO played it very passively. You know, they sit up above. Whenever they felt they just got pressured, they would leave. Now, Ghost is in quite the precarious position because he's right on that catwalk door. And is this going to be a freebie? Yes, it will be for ShyCo.
6 in a row.
6 in a row. He's back-to-back aces. Who knows? Maybe. Yeah, it's been done once, hasn't it?
It's been done once.
By Fantasy. Way back in the Fury days. I think back in 2021, if memory serves me right.
6-5, 5-4. Is it 3-2-1 done? MACKO, they've lost Ghost, but the Fenrir gadget should still be up and in some portions still active. Can't be as mobile with it. Falcons, they're not overextending the push here. They're still going to get the read on it. They want this blitz to smash through at the right time, but instead going to pull the smash away and cleverly use the Twitch drone to remove anything on the back. There's a C4 onto ShyCo though, so only 6 in a row. No more, no less. But now with a blitz in the roll, they're going for the plant demo. They're going to see if they can just try and sneak this one in. But there, look at Falcons just driving up. There's the drop onto one. And there's MACKO instantly responding. Falcons tried to sneak it in and instead drive in, but EFAC maybe a bit slow on it. MACKO flooded themselves in. I mean, okay, well, we're into OT. MACKO get there, but did Falcons sort of go too risky there?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. One, again, MACKO not looking per se to give away picks as easily. You know, they're really trying to double up and triple up if they can. Now, what's weird is that they've went for that push knowing that there is no soft destruction. That's the only reason MACKO have went for that retake. They knew that there's two guys in the bomb site, one of them obviously being the shield. And at that stage, you think, okay, there's two guys. That's it. There's no holes above us. We can just rush these guys down. That's exactly what they did. You know, EFAC just went for the below take rather than going upstairs. Now, the thing is, he's obviously went below more so for the post plant rather than, oh, I'm going to buck below to clear players out of storage. That's usually done from above. So I just think if they had maybe taken the extra bit of time, if they'd taken the extra bit of time just to go above and do a little bit of soft destruction upstairs, that maybe would have made MACKO second guess themselves and he wouldn't went for that retake.
10 seconds to go.
So just one little bit of their kind of prep work before they go into the plan
left before insertion.
is kind of faltered Falcons there.
6 apiece, MACKO. They're not done yet. They'll be finding themselves on towards their defense once again. This game, I mean, you know, it's 4-2 sort of halves, but it's leaning in the defensive favor. However, we felt a few that could be stolen or smashed or sort of swindled away from each other. Back down to the basement and back down to EFAC being the first body. Hey, remember when this happened once before? It was still one out by Falcons at the end, and Users with the kit doesn't want to entirely send for the pickup. They know the player's gone loose, so instead look for another option. Look alone, quite deep. Users is really dreaming of a fight here, but MACKO are pulling back. He's stolen a lot of ground. It's put both teams in an awkward shape, though, here, Demo.
It's strange, because you would have thought that maybe the Blitz would just go for the roamers. But instead, they just want to try and take map control and almost stick to the script. No one's allowed to go off the script for Falcons right now. And again, it seems as though they're going to try and do a similar thing that MACKO did whenever they were attacking. It's just take from EXO and try and move in for that blind spot plant. They've got these Maverick holes drilled in the walls, so it stops anyone from going for the wide swing. But the worry is, if there's a player inside of storage, he's going to upset the apple cart. So still, there is a step that they need to go for. I love this, though, for MACKO. See if he can get aggro, and he's at your feet, mate. He's down there. He's looking for him. He can't find him, though.
Well, Shaiko finds Lolo, and 2 impacts find nothing but scenery. They obviously have got themselves leveled up now, and, you know, some of the work done on the back wall. But as we saw before, when they were able to pull this off, they had a full breach on that back wall. Brede could make himself one on Animus if he wanted to do the same thing, but he's more than happy to sort of just play this wall as pressure before. Gives them a bit more option. A minute left. And as you said, it's a full send on towards EXO. And there's the drive round. Covered, watched, and worried about the swing with the fire gone, but there's still this vertical. And Solotov finds Tep, though, so maybe there's a little bit less of it. No. Ghost is the one in this position, watching and waiting. There's some of the coverage. Great, but he still had the awareness. Acqui is the one that gets Solotov, though. Users is still alive. Now, where is the Blitz going to go? Just drives. Quick and heady for the fight. Can't get out the rotate in time. 30 seconds. The 3 versus 2. Dora inside the site. Watched. But there's no real route or entrance. Caught during the animation. Shaiko swings round, leaves Ghost alone, and there's no getting this from the vertical. So instead, dropped, swung through, gets 1. But there's 2! They've gone for the plant, though. 6 seconds. Has to swing it out. Shaiko sticks it. Can't quite get out in time. Reloads, 2 goo mines either side. Has to give himself options. There's at least the first. The impact DMP will pull some attention. There's the second. A very daunting sound in this. Reloads Ghost. Oh, he knows it's a narrow margin, but it's not one Shaiko can't thread. Once again, Shaiko is the round at the end of a round. Once again, Falcons sit on series point.
Oh, big round. In Ghost, he slammed his desk, by the way. His camera moved position. Oh, Shaiko steps up big. I mean, again, for Falcons, I knew what they were attempting. Again, the way that they dealt with the storage player was to use the Capitao smokes to block his line of sight. But still, he was able to almost pre-fire where the blitz was going to be. And that almost put the fear into users where he thought, I can't go for that. You know, I can't. And at that stage, the smoke grenades would have dissipated. He can't make that play. So then the option was, okay, we know he's above. We're going to have to try and push in just into sight and try and take the 3v2 on the bomb site. And again, it's very risky. Don't forget, Bride is just sat outside the walls. He's really not doing much for his team. So it's essentially a 2v2 using the shield and hopefully Shaiko gets his pick, which he does. But I think for Ghost as well, Ghost needs to get back to site way quicker than what he does. His team's sitting there fighting demons in the site, fighting the blitz, fighting the Capitao. He's just sat upstairs. I think Ghost needs to do a heck of a lot more than what he's doing. He's just sat selling his team.
It's the sad sort of moments where individual disconnects between players, between teams has been throughout both these teams throughout the series a problem. You know, it's something where, yeah, nailing it every single time could be a big thing, but when you have players like these who love to sort of dedicate, love to send themselves on deep roams and deep plays, the hardest part is knowing when to operate. Not knowing for the kill, not knowing for what you can pull apart, but knowing when you can pull back together. And it's something that if I look to another sort of EML team specifically, G2 have done brilliantly. When they've played those sort of loose players, they know when to pull them back and impact, and it's maybe one of the strengths that they've operated better than anyone else on. And here, Falcons aren't even going to roll that dice again. All of them are back towards the site. No pulse, no extension below, no full reads, none of that. Instead, it's a focus here against MACKO, who's full sending currently a Monty. But remember how this went last time, Demo. There was a player that just was not watching the breach swing.
Yep. Oh, Shaiko. He's on for his 20 bomb. That's number 19. He's going to be fighting player inside of storage right now on the verts, and let's take a bit of damage for his trouble, but and you just hope that you have that player inside IT, but Dora almost has to watch two angles, so this is the issue. He has to try and hold IT and then also help out his teammate to stop them from swinging through the rotated garage. Lolo's there now, so Dora should be rotating back to IT, you would expect, but no, still sat outside on the garage door. You can see, just put somebody in IT, like they're really worried that Shaiko's going to go swinging again. Again, Falcons don't need to. We've seen this before. They just sit on their hands inside the site. They've got that opening pick. We'll see how the util dump comes in, because there's still plenty of bees and fire and smokes that MACKO still have, but time is slowly ticking away, and there's still a C4 kicking about from Bride.
I mean, 40 seconds. Efac's got himself a bit of a backline here with the Kiba to keep himself going. Slowed by the goo mine. Teb massively hurt. It'll just take half of that C4 to get the end of him. But there's still the delays on the entrance. Not sure if there's, you know, an Elamine underneath the swing round. There could be the pressure anywhere on any of these angles, and you can see Falcons are just waiting for them. They're sort of saying, look, come in. And then don't be a shield anymore. Ghost, come in and get shot in the face. Monty, come in and get C4'd out the building. 15 seconds. Falcons, all they need is seemingly what they can take, and what they can take is everybody. A flawless demo. And Falcons cement themselves one step closer towards a fight at the top. MACKO, the longest road possible to suffer the end of a 2-0, but they suffer it all the same.